Good evening, folks. Welcome to Wednesday night interrogation. Oh, look, we've got Fidgy with us, Jason. Thought we were going to have a short house tonight. Our intel guys were busy with their lives. We're super upset with them, and we're going to talk smack throughout the show because they couldn't make it. But welcome, and Fidgy's going to sit in tonight, give us her opinion on what she's seeing on these interrogations. But tonight we've got an interesting one. This starts out as a missing person, and I'm not giving all the background on it, but just enough so that you understand what's happening when we jump into these series of interrogation and interview videos. But tonight it's got a missing person. Eventually, a freezer is found in her circle of friends, and then lo and behold, there's a body inside the freezer. So this is the point where law enforcement has taken the missing person's report, has moved it into this criminal investigation. And so we've got people that have come forward to give their interview to voluntarily interview for the police. We've got some that are suspects, and we have some that are suspects that came with attorneys. So it should be interesting. We're going to see, and Jason, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But for the viewers out there, we're going to see a different tact. When someone is a suspect, it's called an interrogation, like the name of the show. That's that you can be leaned on pretty hard by the interrogator or law enforcement in this case. But when someone comes in for an interview, or so you're interviewing a witness, it's there's still a tactical game that's being played because you try to vet the information that you're getting. But it's a different, softer play with that. You have anything to add to that, Jason, before we get started?
No, the witness interviews are more fact gathering, where an interrogation is more, you have the facts already and you use those facts to try to stumble them in a lie. So the witness interviews, I've also had witness interviews witness turns into suspect too. So you don't really know what you're walking into yet, but I agree with what you said.
Yeah. It can go either way real fast, depending on what you're getting in the interview and probable cause that you're developing. But you're right. If you sit down with a witness and then you realize that the witness is maybe a player, an actor, or is culpable somehow or another, then you kind of have to let them know. Do you normally read a Miranda warning for an interview, Jason? Is that standard for you?
It's one of two things. Either we bring them in on a free to leave basis. So if it's a witness or a suspect, we'll call them in and they come in voluntarily and we tell them you're free to leave at any time. This is a voluntary statement. It just depends how far the case is along. If we typically read Miranda, we probably are pretty close to probable cause.
Well, that changes it that they're a suspect, and it's kind of where it becomes an interrogation, right?
Correct. So you could actually start off with a free to leave video interview, and halfway through you stop and recognize, okay, we got probable cause here. It's time for Miranda.
Yes, I've been in that situation before. You think you're talking to a witness. Actually, there was one time I thought I was talking to an informant. She was an informant, been an informant for me for a little over a month. She was a mercenary, which means, she's getting paid. But she kind of come with me. She's like, hey, what about some murders? I'm like, yeah, tell me about some murders. What do you know? It turns out she was the getaway driver for both of them, and they were unsolved for over a year. But she upped it, and she went from interview to interrogation to suspect real fast, just by what she had said.
Yeah, that's pretty common, at least especially in narcotics world, and even homicides too, where you have somebody you think is a witness and all of a sudden they are involved in a co-conspiracy or an aiding and abetting. And it's you never really know what you're walking into, especially in the first 24 hours.
Right. I think Forrest Gump's mom said it. It's like a box of chocolate. You never know what you get until you open it up. Fidge, you have anything? You're new on our interrogation show, but you're not new to this group. You do our police show, and you're, of course, your night co-host. What do you think about this interrogation format and what we're doing?
About the for this one coming up, or in general with the show?
Well, you don't know much about what's coming up. Just talk about in general with the show. This premise. This is only our third episode.
I really like this show. And the reason I do is there are several aspects to it. Yeah, that's interesting. Interrogating a criminal, but listening to you guys, uh, I used to play pool, right, for a living, and so I learned how to read marks and all, right, but never like criminals. So what you guys have to say, actually, I can apply a lot of it into my daily life. You know, if I'm talking to someone, I'm trying to read them or something. Your comments, I actually refer to your comments to kind of fill in the gaps from what I usually read, right? So I think it's pretty cool.
Right. I think that looking for cues and marks, it's not a science. It's more of an art. And I just think you have to. What do you think about that, Jason? I've heard guys like, well, if you look up to the right, and that means deception. I just don't believe that. I think that stress brings
No,
different things.
I got laughed at for calling it art a couple weeks ago.
Was it by me?
No, it was somebody in the room that didn't really see eye to eye with me.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is an art.
100% it is.
Well, we've got a little bit of video ahead of us, guys. Y'all ready to get into it? Okay.
yeehaw, let's go.
So here's the background. The victim has been missing for a while. She had a group of friends. She's kind of a troubled woman in her late 20s, was a stripper at one point, got into a relationship with a guy that's in this circle of group that everyone in the interview are in. She come up missing. The whole story was she run off with some dude and moved to another city. Family didn't buy that. They continued to pressure with law enforcement. And eventually they get into her house. They find a freezer with a body in it. And this is how that investigation goes.
You have some information about this.
Yes,
We're looking for this girl, Shannon Graves.
Yes, sir. It's been a big thing. I've seen it everywhere
It's
now.
everywhere. We can't find her. We don't know where she's at. We have the case now. We're trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay.
Anything you can do about it.
All right. Basically, I know her ex, or whoever everybody's looking at right now, Mr. Arturo.
Okay.
Excuse me. I haven't known him very long, but it's been a couple years. Used to do music with him, that kind of stuff. He was living with me at one of my past residences, and Shannon Graves also moved in because John Shikarda, another one of her exes, asked her to stay there with one of his friends because he knew it'd be safe there. I believe Scarada was dating her at that time. At that time when she moved into that house. After about a couple weeks, couple months, something like that, I'm kind of hazy on how long it really took.
Yeah.
I believe she left him, and when she moved out, she went with Arturo,
Okay.
and he moved out as well. Didn't really see him at all after that.
Some people call Arturo Anthony.
Yes, sir.
He
That's-
has people believe his name is Anthony.
Yeah, he just doesn't tell people his real name. I don't know why. He just does.
Like people that are close to him, like friends.
Well, some of them. I mean, I was close to him for a brief period of time, and I learned his name. So
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how secret he really keeps it, but
Yeah.
everybody just calls him Anthony. I hung out with him briefly. I can't remember exactly what the date was, but it was late winter, early spring, somewhere around there. I asked him how everything was going, and he pretty much he told me that she left him. She wasn't staying with him anymore. Basically, what he wanted me to do is he wanted me to help him get rid of the last of her crap that she left there.
Okay.
Like old documents, a couple clothes, stupid shit like that. I figured he was being spiteful, and I kind of helped him burn it. But now, over the months, and everything's going on, she seems to be missing. Nobody seems to be able to know where she is. Everybody's telling different stories, and from what I hear from John, I've heard like 3 or 4 different stories from him, and I'm not liking the way it looks.
Yeah.
And that's why I came into...
John's been calling us around the clock. You know.
Yeah, well, he gave a damn about her.
Yeah.
Like I said, I started feeling like after all this information started coming out, because I didn't even really ask questions about it. When he asked me to just tell me burn that crap.
Yeah.
But from what everybody's telling me, everybody thinks it's foul play, and if that's the case, I don't I feel like I might have been used.
We don't know for sure, but we also can't find her, so it's
Yeah.
kind of like,
Well, everybody in town's talking like that.
yeah.
And it's starting to worry me. Because if that was the case, and if it is foul play, then what the hell did he have me do?
When's the last time you saw her?
Saw her?
Yeah.
Last time I saw her wasn't a personal interaction. It was I saw her driving down the road with them, with Arturo.
Okay.
I'd say that was sometime right after Christmas, I think.
Do you think it was late winter when he asked you to help him get rid of stuff?
Yeah. It was like end of February area.
And he burned it?
Yeah.
How did that go down?
It was just garbage bag, felt like papers and stuff. It really wasn't heavy. One that had like a pair of clothes or something in it. And pretty much just grabbed some sticks, went to my buddy's house, started a fire, and I said, there you go. Sure.
So, of the things that were burned, papers and clothing,
Yes, sir.
personal items,
I believe so. Like I said, I really didn't look in the bags. I didn't really ask him any questions. I figured he was just being spiteful. So I mean, she said she left him.
did he elaborate on that?
That's really all he really told me. She
Yeah.
left him for some other dude, and that was it.
Best we could tell, the last people to actually lay eyes on her was around February 17th, right after Valentine's Day. There was a birthday party, one of John's friends, she was at. And after that, John doesn't hear from her no more, and nobody sees her again. So what we're thinking here is, if something happened to her, it's an if right now, it could happen between the last time anybody saw her and when you guys were burning the stuff. Because I would assume he wouldn't be burning the stuff if she was still alive. But he's also
Okay, Jason, this is a witness come in. They haven't found a body, so it's a missing persons report. It seems like the investigators have got it nailed down from the last time she was seen. And with this gentleman's coming in, like I burned her stuff because she left this guy. How you feeling about this witness?
I'm good with it so far. But again, this is a gathering information interview. I don't think they have enough to challenge anything, so I just keep letting him talk. And he seems very relaxed and presents himself as truthful, and he's there to potentially like clear his name a little bit because she hasn't been found yet. I right now I tend to believe him.
Right. Now, you'll have situations in this that I think an investigator needs to be aware of. Is this a culpable person coming in to try to throw you off the tracks, or is this a true I'm concerned citizen? I believe the motivations for this gentleman is that he probably did have something to do with getting rid of her items, burning them, and is concerned that this may be something more. Not that he's culpable, he just doesn't want to be involved in it, so he's going to come forward first, is my impression. But I agree. I give him some credibility in what he's saying. I would believe it at least give me things I could go out and go put my hands on to vet his story up. But Fidgy, what do you think about his demeanor, and all that?
I think he said something interesting to me, and he said there were all these stories going around. He was very relaxed about it. And so that caused me to believe him, because I've not seen people interrogated before where they weren't trying from the get-go. If they were guilty, they were trying from the get-go to hone their story, right? They were not generic about like what other people are saying or anything like that. They're targeting that kind of thing to provide their evidence
Right, so
of
he's not
innocence. I don't see that.
He's not guarding his words. He's just telling the story.
No.
And that's the way I figure it too. And that's kind of my point with stopping and kind of talking about it, because we see, like the first show we did, from the get, that guy was he knew he was on the hot seat, and he tried to steer the narrative and throw the police officers off the trail on things he knew that were important. But this person, I don't feel that. Let's finish out his video or his interview.
driving her car and living in her apartment. Did he also have his own girlfriend at the time?
When he got together with her?
Yeah.
No.
Leading up to it? I mean, Trina?
Trina Layton. Yeah, that's not what I would consider a girlfriend. I don't think he's ever used that term either. From what I remember them telling me about their story, she's pretty much been there for him like a wife, but they've never been a thing, at least in his eyes. And that was honestly one of the reasons why I couldn't stand being around them two together, is they would just be at each other's throats all the time, yelling and screaming at each other about stupid stuff.
Are you talking about Katrina, or are you talking?
Yeah, they would both, like Katrina and Arturo, would kind of just yell at each other over and over and over again about stupid shit. Like she'd get overly paranoid and say like he's cheating on her or something with some chick off of Facebook, for example. She would start an argument over it, and of course the typical man response is like, "What are you even talking about? It's a chick I just added on Facebook," kind of mentality, and then it would boil over into, I wouldn't exactly say like screaming. It's just like aggravated yelling at each other.
Does Katrina have kids?
Yes.
Are they his?
No. But he has helped take care of them
Yeah.
at a certain point.
They were on and off together for a couple of years.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Like I said, they never used the term relationship together or anything like that in my presence. In fact, they both kind of agreed that that's never been a thing. But pretty sure Trina really wanted it to be.
What's your feeling on this?
On the whole thing? Well, obviously I came down to give a statement. I'm worried myself. Like I said, if everybody at this point is thinking it's foul play, that's not good. That's not good for the situation at all. When everybody really started saying they thought it was foul play, I started thinking about that fire, and then John brought it up, and I said, you know what? I've seen too many crime shows. This does not look good. And if this is what happened, he just made me an accessory, and I don't like that. I don't like feeling used. I feel like if that was what the case was, then he was trying to take me down with him. Like I said, I watch a lot of crime shows.
John was,
I know, I understand the fact that the longer somebody's been missing, the less chances there are of actually finding them. I said that doesn't look good, because he said they pulled a bracelet out of the fire, like a pit or
we
something.
keep hearing that there was a
Who
bracelet.
pulled a bracelet? He said the landlord of the property did. And I said, if that's the case, that's something she wouldn't leave behind.
Landlord of which property?
The Sherwood.
If stuff was getting burned and we didn't know what the stuff was, and we found out it was a bracelet, then how do we know it's hers anyway?
He said it was engraved with her name.
Oh, well. But if he's burning her shit, what's the difference if it's a bracelet or...
Well, like I said, if it's something that has her name engraved on it, that seems like something that would be rather important to her, in my opinion.
Personal.
Yes, very personal.
As opposed to
That, and they're saying
her
that,
normal belongings.
and from what I hear, he still has a dog.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
And from when I lived with her, that dog was treated better than a freaking toddler. Like, that was her baby. I don't see why he has her dog. I don't see why she would leave it. And like I said, I watched crime shows. And when he said that bracelet was pulled out, it was engraved with her name, that's a personal item, he was burning her stuff, I started thinking about it more and more. And I'm like, that just doesn't look good. I've seen this movie.
John went over to the house and he collected a laundry basket. It has a bunch of ashes and stuff in it. So our crime lab guys are sifting through a pile of ashes now to figure out what the heck was in there. The fire department was called that day, so it makes it kind of gives us a nice marker of what day it was. Otherwise, who would know what day you had a fire? I wouldn't. So, you guys brought a bag over there?
Yeah, felt like shoes, like heels. I didn't really look at it myself either.
Okay.
I just kind of brought it there because we were supposed to burn the fire.
You guys made a trip over there with one bag.
Well, we needed to go get something to start the fire. I needed lighter fluid, so it was kind of wet.
But you had other stuff to burn too, right?
Yeah, but those were in trash bags.
At any point, did you come to know what was in the bag?
No, I did not. I believe that was just tossed in.
The whole bag.
You didn't care about the bag.
The trash bags What was in them? Gloves?
Like I said, it was like papers. I think one was clothes. It was real light shit. It really wasn't all that heavy.
How many bags? Were trash bags?
Yeah, there was like 2 trash bags. Black ones.
Not a lot of stuff.
Not too much. Like I said, it was more paperwork just kind of tossed in the bag. And
Is there anything that led you to believe that what he was doing was destroying evidence?
not at the time, but after I started thinking about it, when the missing reports came up, that's why I came.
Do you have any personal knowledge that she's dead?
Yes, sir.
Anything that would lead you to believe? Did you mention anything? That something went wrong?
He didn't mention anything. He said she left him for some other dude.
Didn't say who, no details, no nothing. Everybody thinks he killed him, which is a logical jump, I guess. But
Yeah,
now they're freaked out because
I don't.
some killer was burning his dead girlfriend's shit in her yard. You know what I mean? So they're a little freaked out.
If that was the case, I really highly doubt that. He doesn't seem like the type to do that. I mean, then again, you don't even know people anymore.
Yeah.
If I had to say, I don't think he would. He did spend time in prison, so I'm sure he's got that mentality where he's got to do what he's got to do. But I've never seen him have really any urge to be violent.
Did Katrina know anything about it?
That's hard to say, but last I checked, she was probably the closest one to him.
Looking at things, here's a guy who called you up to help him burn his shit at some people's house that he doesn't know. There's you and there's people. That's a lot of people to involve if he did something wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. I mean,
I want to pause it there because that officer's bringing up a good point. By the way, folks out there, another public service announcement for you guys, an advisement. If your friends ask you to burn their significant other's belongings, you should stay away from that. I've never heard this story turn out great. But Burton says that he thinks this guy's covering something up. Jason, are you picking up anything from this interview? Of course, you don't know enough about the case, but I mean,
I don't, but
nothing making your senses stand up.
Just it goes to self-preservation. People are talking. He gets nervous. He wants to go in and give his story that he wasn't involved. That's the only red flag I'm getting as to people don't want to get themselves in trouble. So the one red flag I have is he's trying to get in front of the rumors, but there's still not enough to prove that he's involved or not. But that is a little red flag to me that he's in self-preservation mode.
I agree, but it does appear that some truthfulness, and once again, then go back and get the ashes of what he spoke about. You saw the inlays there of the video, the things they found at the site that he burned the items, and absolutely they can place that to the missing girl. So now I don't get the same vibe that Burton's getting, and I think as an investigator, he's giving me some hard times and dates and places and things that I can go check his story. So I would feel confident, I think, leaving here that if this guy's telling me something that's not true, I might be able to dig into it and find out. But I think it's helpful for the investigation. What do you think, Jason? This is a missing person at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, again, I keep saying this, just let them talk, and when you start off a case, you are developing things that, and you hit the nail on the head. This guy's giving statements that are very easily provable. So if they want to know if this guy's lying, it might be the next day, the next week, but they can prove everything he said. And I guarantee you if these detectives know what they're doing, they're going to go back and actually prove all of his statements to see if he's lying or not.
No, I agree. All right, let's finish this one up, and then we're going to get to
I wasn't really thinking
a suspect interview
about it.
yeah, no, I mean, that's a whole lot of people that, I mean, if you killed somebody, would you call somebody to help you burn the clothes at somebody's house that you never met?
Right, you figure that's something you just do on your own.
Yeah. The only reason I can see that he would ask you to do that, if he did that, is if you knew, if you saw. Otherwise, if I killed you right now and he wasn't in the room, I would never tell him about it. If he was in the room, I'd be like, we gotta get rid of him. Make sense?
Right.
So The only reason, if he actually did something to her, and we're not, still an if, we don't know, we don't have a body, and we don't have her anywhere, alive, dead, would be as if you actually had personal knowledge. So,
Like I said, that's all that really went down. I wish I could give you more.
no, I know, I understand. As time goes by, when she doesn't show up, if she doesn't, alive, or if she shows up dead, it's going to become a murder, and he's going to be a prime suspect.
Okay, I want to go back to this. Did you notice how he gave this guy he kind of painted the picture that if I killed you and this guy wasn't in here, I wouldn't tell him about it. But if he is in here and I killed you, then I'm going to look at him and say, hey, we've got to get rid of the body. I'm going to include you in my crime. And that's what he's alluding to, that your friend may have done for you on this, that he's included you into a crime, making you what one could be considered an accessory. Do you think that's a pressure tactic for this guy I think they're close to the end of their interview and they're looking for a last dump. Anything that you wanted to say you haven't said already? Do you think that's a portion of that? Or do you think that's a strategy by the investigator?
100% yes. They're kind of putting him on the spot, locking him into a story. Again, it goes back to, we can prove everything you said, and if we find a dead body, we're gonna figure it out. So they're trying to lock him into, were you involved or not?
100%. They find something down the road in the investigation where this guy helped carry the body to the trunk of a car. He's given the opportunity to say now. And I think that's kind of what the investigators are trying to impart with him. Speak now or forever hold your peace. The next time we talk, if it's sideways, it won't go the same way. Let's hear this out. I think the guy's being pretty honest, and I think it's self-preserving. I think he realizes that he actually could be an accessory if he doesn't come forward at the time that he does. After a body may be too late.
Look at how he's leaning in when the detective is saying that. That tells me he's innocent. I mean, he had really nothing to do with it. He's leaning in to hear it, and I think if he had any guilt, he'd be more trying to cover himself up, or move back a little bit from the investigator.
Well, Fitchy, you bring up a good point. I want to go to Jason on that. How much stock do you give into posture in the body? I know every investigator is reading it, but how much stock do you put into it? Can you count on it reliably? I guess is my question.
No. If you've ever interviewed a psychopath or a homicidal person, or stared into somebody that you just can see evil, they're not your normal typical person. So I only put stock into it when it comes time, okay, you can actually feel I got you. And the next question, and with this guy's leaning into it, that could be construed as he is very concerned and he is very honest right now. But at this point, I don't think body language holds a whole lot. If you go back to the first night, that guy's body language was like, that dude's been here before, and I'm not seeing it with this guy.
I see the same thing, and I kind of put it to it depends on how much anxiety is beneath the skin that's going on with the person, and someone who is a pathological liar or a psychopath, that emotional cascade that's going on behind the eyes, that people who are nervous, like the guy in the first week video we did. He knew what was up before the investigators came in. He was that was his game face, but I'm just not seeing it here. I think that this guy's being pretty much forthright, but I think it's he's doing it for self-preservation. I don't think he knows. He may not know the woman's dead, but I think he knows that this is not going down a good road, and he doesn't want to be the guy who burned the girl's clothes without coming in and upping it and saying something about it. But some interesting points, and Burton said it too. He said, Burton said something else. He says he's engaged in talking, but Burton says something seems off.
I feel like that off that Burton is talking about is the guy doesn't remember. Like he's trying to scan his brain for what he was told, and he's not quite sure if he's forgetting something one of his friends told him or what, and so he's a little uneasy there. But that's kind of how I read that.
Well, and some of it is what he's saying is true. He didn't ask a lot of questions. Then he's in here to draw a lot of inferences that, like, what do you think? Well, I think this. And you've heard the investigator do that same tactic. Well, what do you think happened? Did you know anything that maybe she was even injured? She's hurt. And of course, he said no. But I want to get through this one and welcome Bruce Wayne to the panel tonight. How you doing, Bruce?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Doing well. Burton makes a comment that I agree with. It may be that he's worried about being dragged into the mess. I mean, if this woman she's missing. If this woman is dead and he was tagged as burning her clothes, it's just somebody. I can see where he would have a concern. I think I would have a concern if somebody. Of course, I'm gonna let all my friends know if you come to my house with a bag of clothes asking me to burn it, I'm gonna invite you off my property to go burn that on your own. You don't need me to start a fire.
And the facts of the case would be this girl was last seen in February. You were burning her shit in March, and you were helping burn the shit. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you know something, but it looks like you know something. If you have any other knowledge, this is a good time. If it's even rumor, if it's something he just said in passing, if you happen to be there when he lost his shit and killed her, and it was like, holy f***, you just do that, this would be the time.
No, I feel like he was playing me like a pawn.
Well, here's the problem. You see the problem I'm getting at?
Yeah.
She don't show up. The longer this goes on, the worse it looks. She does show up, but she ain't breathing. I mean, we start close to home. Because that's usually who kills you. Somebody knows you.
Hey, Joe,
So
can
she
you
shows
stop
up
real quick?
dead. You and him, I don't know how close you are, but
Not very.
But yeah, if you kill somebody in front of somebody else, your relationship becomes real complicated real fast. In not good ways. So
Yeah. I can see
I mean
how
I
that
don't
would go.
think he'd come and kill you. Then again, maybe he would. You're kind of a loose end. But when we're talking about loose ends, we got loose end number one, loose end number two. This is a sloppy kind of deal. When you kill somebody in a fit of rage, you kind of don't have a plan.
Well, it's a
and
crime of passion.
And you f things up.
Yeah, that would be a crime of passion.
You get emotional.
So, boyfriend, girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, the John factor, all this stuff going on. This guy f***ed up and does something stupid. It kind of makes sense. Do you have other knowledge about this crime?
No, sir.
Or
I'm just
or
worried
that there
about,
even was a crime? Because right now,
at this point, I'm just worried like he used me. Like I said, that's what I'm scared of. I feel like, because everybody else is saying that. They think it's foul play. And like you said, even a rumor can screw somebody over.
Yeah, I understand how rumors can destroy somebody's life real quick.
there's another way your life gets destroyed real quick is you watch a guy kill somebody and you're a loose end. That ruins your life real quick too.
I didn't watch anybody kill anybody.
Okay. Another way you ruin your life real quick is you know about it and he knows. That ruins your life real quick too. If you know something about this, we need to know. Number one, we got a girl we can't find, and we have no idea what to look for.
All right, I'm going to pause again. I think there's another point here. Jason, if this guy came in and didn't, in other words, you didn't have anything that you could even draw some sort of implication to criminal activity, like, hey, if I find this out later, then what you did you could be in trouble. It's essentially kind of what they're telling him. I think this is a good tactic that they're using on him, that basically they're saying you're in good standing now, but this could be bad. If you're holding anything back, this is the time to put it on the table. But let me back up. If the person comes in and they're kind of flying above it, like I'm the neighbor and I witnessed this and I'm just telling you what I know. It's kind of like no dog. This guy doesn't have a dog in the fight. But when the person sits down and they tell you something that kind of puts a dog in the fight, so to speak, with him actually burning clothes of a potentially murder victim or definitely a missing woman, not unlawful off the kid, but I mean you could turn that into something if this guy's not being truthful in the first contact. Do you see it the same way, Jason, as far as they're actually turning little interrogation screws on this witness? I mean, on this interview?
Right now, they are 100%. The one question I would ask at this point would be, Well, I'll just use you, Joe. Hey, Joe, you want to come to my house and pick up a couple bags? My girlfriend left me, and I got to burn some shit. Did that not draw a red flag with you?
I'm busy.
Yes, I would have. I would have turned that question to: Did you think it's Do you think it's normal that your buddy called you and said, "Hey, my girlfriend left me for a guy. Can you help me burn some of her shit?" That's be the question I would ask.
Yeah, I get it, but in of itself, it's not unlawful. It's not an unlawful activity unless you can say that he knew he was doing that to cover up evidence. There's where it becomes unlawful, where this guy could be in trouble. He knew she was missing, or he knew she was murdered, and he's helping his friend get rid of the evidence. That'd be like you helping get rid of a body. So
I just want to see. I'd love to see his reaction to that question right now.
Yeah, I think you're going to see it because I think that's what they're doing. They're circling in. I think they'll end this interview with him walking out of there going, racking his brain to make sure that there's nothing he did not tell them. I think he's going to leave everything on the table because I kind of believe the guy. Like I said, once again, folks, somebody shows up to your house with the scenario Jason just brought up, you need to be busy. There's no reason why they need your help to start a fire. You want to go burn some shit, go burn it. You don't need my help for it. My name's Paul. That's between y'all will be my answer.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. He is have to kill you. I would. I haven't met one person yet who told me that they had any idea why you would do anything with this girl.
No, I didn't.
Well, I wouldn't think you did. Wouldn't accuse you of that.
Well, I was kind of raised with a decent respect.
Okay. Well, you're raised with something that isn't common anymore. So
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't think you did anything to her. That's not why you're here. You're here because it looks like you helped them dispose of what might have been evidence. And for anybody to do that, to allow somebody to see that, I would think they'd have to be so deep with that person that it didn't matter. Otherwise, why do that? I wouldn't burn my wife's shit if I killed her with you.
Yeah.
And I sure as hell wouldn't do it with some friends of yours. So,
yeah.
If you're holding in something about this, please let me know so I can find this girl and get her family some peace. Or get this guy out of the way because it sounds to me like this guy did something bad.
I'm not gonna lie, you've made me rather paranoid today.
I'm not trying to make you paranoid, I'm trying to make you unparanoid. This guy tell you something about what happened?
No, he did not.
You know something about what happened?
No.
By some other means?
No.
I'm telling you that what you explained to us happening is understandable and we're not even remotely thinking of charging you with destroying evidence. Number one, we don't know that it is evidence. That's it.
Okay.
Don't know nothing else.
Yes, sir. If I think of anything, I'll give you a call.
All right, this is suspect number one. This
So
is
the reason we're here today is
interrogation.
because you found something in your basement today. But there's a story that leads up to this. So, and you start from the beginning. I know we've talked to you, but
This is the real deal.
slowed down and we're
My head's kind of calmed down too.
yeah. Well, I mean this doesn't happen every day. So now we're calmed down. Things are under control. So what happened
Today.
Well, start from the beginning of this story.
Why don't you start with how you met Anthony?
Okay, I met Anthony. I went over to my neighbor's house, and I was playing some music that I made, and then that's the Anthony was there. He liked the music. He said he was a rapper. You know, everybody's a rapper.
Right.
But he really liked my music, you know, because we worked something out, right? I said okay, and I didn't think much of it because I always heard that from people. Then like 2 days later, he actually knocks on my door. You know, he had long hair, long hair ponytail.
Right.
How long ago was this?
This had to be, I'm guessing, I'm really bad on time though, sorry, but I'd say between 4 and 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
And he said, hey man, dang, I was going to hit you up on that music, I'll listen up. So, we got along, and he just started hanging around, and, you know, we started playing Xbox together, you know, just typical friendship stuff, you know. And then me and my wife would help him out, you know. I said they had 2 kids down there, they always had gas off, or electric off, or water off, or something. We just help him out, you know what I mean, just... That's how we started. That's how we became friends. He was always with this Trina girl on and off, right? Like, she'd get her income tax return, he'd be with her. And then that would run out, and then he'd be off with some other girl, and then income tax come. He does like 3 years in a row. He goes back with her because she gets like $6,000-7,000 or something.
Do you know this girl named Star?
I knew her from when Anthony brought her to the house.
And when was that?
First time I brought her was last summer.
That was like his girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
They get along?
When the first couple times they came over, yeah, they got along. But then after that, they just a lot of fighting and stuff. I even asked him, with the same problem as his other girlfriend, Trina, I asked him not to bring her around no more. And then I asked him not to bring Star around no more because they fight. They probably sat outside the house, yelling back and forth at each other, happening this and that. Come on, my lunch right there,
Yeah.
I just asked him not to bring her around anymore.
Star?
Yeah.
Did you ask her not to bring Katrina around too?
Yeah.
So you had the same problem?
Yeah, because they're always fighting, this way.
So whenever he's with either one of them, he's fighting with them?
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't start out that way?
No.
Okay. When's the last time you saw Star?
Oh boy, let's see. It's been a while. It was the end of last summer. I guess it was around the end of last summer. Actually, it was starting to get cold because the pool water was getting too cold to swim. In fact, they came and they went to swim and it was too cold to swim. So it got to be like the very end of the summer. I remember we got some Mike's hard lemonade, sat outside underneath the umbrella and thing. We drank a couple beers and then he had a little bit of weed. We smoked some weed. He went home. That's the last time I saw her.
Do you know her real name?
No, I just heard you say it though, but I didn't know her name.
If we showed you a picture of her, can you identify her?
Yeah.
So Monday, July 17th, he brings his freezer over. You tell him where to put it?
Yeah. I told him, I said, as soon as you walk in the basement door, there's a little thing, just put it in there. I said, there's a plug right there you can plug it into.
Did you notice at the time there was a padlock on it?
I didn't even look at the freezer. When he brought it out of the thing, he was on top. He got the top. Mike got the bottom of it. And Anthony got the top, of it, and they carried it. And I didn't look at it or anything. And then he come down, he said, hey, your outlet doesn't work. I said, oh, we got struck by lightning last week, like right at the pole, and some of our outlets got burned out.
So he brings his freezer over, puts it in the basement, and your power doesn't work.
The outlet by down close to the thing doesn't work, right?
So he had to get an extension cord.
Right. But Mom, get that big orange one that's in my basement now. It's his.
So they call you about 3. They don't get there till 11.
Mm-hmm.
When they come, they put it in the basement. Your power doesn't work, so he has to leave, go get an extension cord, and come back.
Yep.
Then he plugs it in.
Yep.
Now, when do you first notice there's a padlock on this thing?
The next day, my wife, she washed clothes. She come up. She goes, "There's a padlock on the freezer." I'm like, "A padlock?" I said, "Why would you put it?" I said, "What? You don't trust us?" That's why I said, "Why you don't trust us? We're going to eat his meat." That's what I said. We're going to eat his meat. And then me and my wife started discussing, literally talking about Star. Like, what a Star is in here. I mean, just like kind of joking, but kind of not joking.
At that point, you knew she was missing?
I just had found out maybe, I get goosebumps, I'm sorry. I found out like maybe a week and a half. It's when he was at my house and this Trina was calling him. And he was like, "Stop, don't freak out, stop freaking out." And then he hung up and she called back again. He's like, "Just go in the house."
When was that?
That was the night I fixed his computer. So the 17th I brought the freezer. I think it was 2 or 3 days later is when I wiped out his computer. And that's the night Trina called him. And I asked him, I said, "What's going on? Why are you freaking out?"
So on Monday night, he brings the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
On Tuesday, you find the padlock.
Mm-hmm.
And you already know Star's missing.
Yeah.
And you jokingly say, "I wonder if Star's in there."
Right.
Arturo, Anthony. You know him as Anthony. Do you know him as Arturo?
No.
You don't know that that's his real name?
I mean, I know that it is his real name, but I'm not sure I have my last name. Yeah, that's the last.
Picture.
Oh, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Anthony. Yeah, that's Star.
That's Star.
Katrina and Anthony, pretty tight. You think she knows about this?
I personally, you mean like my personal opinion? Absolutely. They never have any money. He just got the job out of the back. That freezer looked brand new to me. We were talking about what to have for dinner, I said, "Well, I can make some spaghetti sauce or whatever." And I was over there for maybe a half hour or so, 40 minutes. Came back, sit on the couch smoking a cigarette. My wife sitting next to me. And she's just sitting there, and I just look on her face. I've been together 30 years. And I said, "What's the matter?" "Oh." She said, "I opened that freezer up downstairs." And I said, "And?" She said, "There's a 5-gallon bucket and a big black garbage bag." I said, "Did you look in it?" She said, "No." And she was like, "Thanks." I said, "You want me to go down? You want me to go down and see?" She said, yeah.
She went down and unscrewed the hasp. Why?
Because she said because she wanted to see if there was any hamburger in there. She's in a spaghetti sauce. I think it was gnawing
It
at
just
her,
got to her.
and she wanted to see. But
It's your house.
right, I'm
You
saying,
got a freezer in your basement,
right,
and
then
there's
it
a
has a
padlock on it.
You're paying for this guy
Right.
to run a freezer at your house.
Well, that's another thing. He said, I'll give you $100 a week to keep it. I
$100.
said, Anthony, I don't know. I said, your rent's $450 a month. I said, just throw me like $20 a month, or whatever for the electric bill or whatever.
He offered $100
He said,
a
I'll
week.
give you $100 a week.
Well, the light had to go off when he said that.
It did. I'm like, well, first I thought maybe he just misspoke, or maybe, what I mean. He said, I'll give you $100 a week, or whatever. That's how you followed up, or whatever. I said, Anthony, because I thought we were friends.
So
I'm
he
like,
brought a
"Don't worry."
locked freezer to your house and
I didn't-
offered to give you $100 a week.
Yeah, well, I didn't know it was locked.
Yeah.
My wife told me. I just figured, well, you don't want us to eat the meat. I went down, I undid it, and I opened it. As soon as I opened it, my stomach just flipped. Then I just like, what? This is how you store your meat? So I picked up the bag, it was pretty heavy, the big one. And I picked up the 5-gallon bucket, and I set it down, and I open it, and there's a backpack. I'm like, take the backpack out, open up, there's a green garbage bag. Open up the green garbage bag, another green garbage bag. But it's frozen frozen
Big
together.
solid block.
Right. So got these scissors, and it smells really bad. I'm like, why would it? That's when I knew. I was like, why would you wouldn't put rotten meat in the freezer and freeze it, and then rot in the freezer because it would be frozen. And Joel and my wife's looking, and it just looks so weird to me. I've seen lots of rotten meat and thing working in restaurants and thing. And my wife said, nah, she said, just put it back in the thing. I said, no, Joe, I'm looking. I said, I've never seen nothing like this. No kind of meat or nothing like this. I had the other bag sitting on the floor. I couldn't get the knot out. It was like frozen. I just couldn't do it, and then the strength to get it out. She said, you want me to get you some scissors? I said, yeah, she brought me down a pair of scissors.
Well, hell yeah, you got to get in there
Right.
now.
I said, I got to see what's in here, And then I'm like, it's not covered. Meat's not covered. And then I recognized the foot in the thing, and I just my wife grabbed her head, and I grabbed mine.
You knew it was a body.
I said, I turned around, I said, call the police. But she didn't. She was freaked out, so I just took the phone, and I didn't call nobody, nothing. I called the Camel Police. I only saw her girl 4 or 5 times, but she only talked about 2 things: her dad and her dog. How close she was to her dad, and how much she loved her dog. And then he's driving her car, and he has her dog. And that's when I started actually thinking maybe he did something.
Because you handle things at the scene. We want to take a DNA swab for you. It consists of 2 cotton swabs in your mouth for elimination purposes. Or obviously we're going to be looking at the freezer and the body and the tools and all that. And when we start sending stuff in, they're going to want DNA from you and from your wife. And that's,
Whatever you got me.
You all right?
Yep. It's just like, it's like outer space. I'm like in outer space or something.
The detectives then interview Ken's wife, Jill.
Jill Eschenbaugh? Mm-hmm. Jill, the reason we asked you to come down here is because you called the Camel Police to your house today for some human remains you found. And we believe it might be related to a missing that we had here in Youngstown. We've been looking for a girl for a little while. Can you tell me what happened today?
Today, my husband went over to his friend's house, and I was thinking about what to make for dinner. And I didn't have any hamburger in our freezer.
All right, folks, let's discuss just for a second here. So we've got a man and a woman. This is his wife that are friends with a suspect, which was the boyfriend of the missing girl that comes over with, I need you to store a freezer for me. Does that with a padlock on it. And you heard his iteration on his story. How much credit are you going to give that story, Jason?
Jason said he may have to step away for a while.
Okay, no worries. Go ahead, Bruce. Just you've heard the man's story. Do you give him any credit with that? What do you think his culpability in this crime of a freezer with a body in it?
I think that there's a whole lot of red flags that he should have been suspicious of before. I think the detective did a good job kind of laughing.
Give me an example of one of the things that
and-
stands out. Give me an example of one of the things that stands out for you that would be suspicious to you that he said.
Well, I mean, the guy dropping a freezer off is suspicious. The padlock, major red flag. I would have made someone open it right then and there. Offering $100 a week or a month or whatever, that's highly suspicious. There was just a lot of things that throw up red flags, and the guy's story seemed very scripted. The whole chronology was just, it was like he was reading off of a book, not like he was trying to remember anything. So I'm highly skeptical.
Let me ask you this: do you give him any credit that he's the one who contacted law enforcement, other than his phone call? Would law enforcement know that the body was in the freezer?
I do. Yeah. Since he was the one that called, that does lend some credence to his story. But I still think he should have been asking. Obviously, being stupid's not a crime. But I don't know. I think it's very scripted.
Okay, Fidji, kind of the same question to you. How much validity do you give this old guy's story?
I give the old guy's story quite a bit of validity, actually, and it'll be interesting when you have the wife kind of concur with what he said, because that'll be the true tell if their stories match or not. The only mistake I think he made was he didn't somebody dropping some box at your house or a freezer with a padlock on it. I agree with Bruce. I would have made him open it and be like, I don't know what you're dropping off here, but you're not keeping crap I don't know about my house, you know? But I do think, you know, sometimes it seems like you don't recognize what's right in front of you, you know, and it just seems so outlandish that it just doesn't kind of register until you see it for yourself. And I think it kind of did register a little bit with the wife, and God for nosy women, right? Because the wife was like, you think maybe, you know, I mean, I think it kind of occurred to her that something was nefarious there, but I think they're kind of just stupidly innocent in this.
Okay. I want to add some context to, and I get what you guys are saying. I'm telling you right now, I said it earlier, you show up with a bag of clothes and want me to burn it, then I'm going to side eye you. I'm already suspicious. Why are you over? Don't come to my house and ask me to do that. You shouldn't show up at my house with a freezer either. But I learned through doing investigations and dealing with people at all different stations and levels in life, and people just do things different. People in meth circles, and I call these a group of friends that will do meth together. They pretty much stick together, think dudes within each other, within their circle of group of friends. If somebody's selling something, I mean, it'll pass around. If someone needs help, they reach out to the little friend circle first. And I'll give you an example. If me, you, and Bruce and Jason, we're in the same kind of a friend group, right? We're not, we don't have a lot of resources, probably on public assistance or lower paying jobs. So money's always tight. Rent's always an issue. The lights going on and off are always an issue. But if I called you and said, hey, could you give me a ride to the grocery store? I can't get there, but I need to buy some groceries. Now, the friends we are now, then one of you would come pick me up. We'd take me to the grocery store. We'd have a good time, and then we'd come back. But you not one time would ask me for gas money. In this type of group, even though being good friends, they won't even take you to the grocery store without getting gas money, because that's a resource that's tied on them. It's not that they're being kind of asses, but the resources are tied all together. And I say all that to say that if you're in that group and somebody says, hey, man, I can't pay my light bill, but I got a bunch of meat that I got from a lick I hit 3 weeks ago in my freezer and I'm going to lose it. Can I bring it to your house? Yeah, man, you can. And it also would be almost insulting that you have a padlock on it, but not surprising that you have a padlock on it, because once again, nobody gets anything for anything when the resources are tight. So I'll go back to say this, that gives me his story actually some plausibility. That he may have not have jumped body in the freezer right off the get. It could have been kind of like he said, oh, you don't trust me. You think I'm going to eat your meat.
Well, you make a good point about the tight resources, except for the fact that, like he said, the guy offered him as much as his monthly rent just to keep that freezer. So that's Like his resources obviously weren't that tight.
Well, I don't think the old man believed that his friend was going to be able to come up with that. He might pay him 100 now, but he'd be 6 months before he pays him again. He's always going to owe him. And the wife going into the freezer looking for some hamburger meat over spaghetti, he made it sound like, well, I guess she did that. I promise you that was a conversation that was had. It's like, we'll just get a screwdriver. You can take the hasp off and just grab a pound of hamburger meat. Hell, if he's going to put the freezer at my house, at least I can get a pound of hamburger meat and make spaghetti. So once again, all that kind of sounds right. But let's see if she backs up the same the same back end story that I'm essentially making up, that I'm making assumptions out of. But let's see if she backs up with the same thing. But think of it like that too. It's not uncommon when people are at that station in life that even amongst good friends and even family members, they won't take you to the grocery store without at least getting $5 for gas. So everything is transactional. So let's see.
So I thought maybe there may be some in there, so I went down, and I knew that the padlock was on that freezer, and so I took a little screwdriver down with me, and I just unscrewed it, and when I opened it up, I saw the black trash bag, and that 5-gallon bucket with the orange lid, and I saw that, and my stomach flipped, and I just shut it, and I put the screws and stuff back in, and my husband came home like maybe 10 minutes later. And he knew something was wrong, so he sat down on the couch and he said, what's wrong? And I told him what I saw. And he said, well, he goes, you stay up here and I'm gonna go down and take, see what it is. So he went down and he took the screws and stuff out of it again, and he opened it up, I guess. And he was down there just for a couple minutes, and I stuck my head down and I went down the steps. And I just sat down on the steps, and he was taking that black bag, out of the backpack. There's a red backpack. He tried to open up that, and I think I wanted to get scissors because it was tied real tight. And I gave him a thing of scissors, and he cut that open. And then there was another bag of that inside of that bag. And he cut that one open, and when he tried to open it up, it smelled horrible. I just thought it was spoiled meat at first. I was hoping that it was just spoiled meat. And I said, it just stinks too bad. I said, just put it back. I said, just wrap it up and put it back, get it back there. And he went to go open the other one, and it was the same thing. It was tied, and then he cut that one, and then he opened, there was another bag inside of that. And when he cut that open, that's when he saw the foot in the backpack.
Okay.
And he said, it's a foot. And I said, no, it can't be. And I went over to where he was at, and I was like, oh my God, it is. And then we both went upstairs, and he went out I went upstairs to check on my son, and he went out and called the police. And then they came after that.
Legally, there's nothing wrong with you looking in the freezer.
Before we get down that road, Bruce, you made a comment earlier about the gentleman's testimony that appeared to be rehearsed. She pretty much just told the exact same story. Does that give you any pause for validity or being contrived?
Doesn't really back up validity because I'm assuming they weren't separated and kept separate from the moment they called the police, so they had time to rehearse. She does seem a lot more broken up about it than he does. He seemed more flippant, almost just like it didn't affect him at all, or he almost found the whole thing amusing. So I'm still suspicious of him.
Well, B says the story was rehearsed. You know what? I think there very well could have been some rehearsal on this, but it's also, if they both witnessed the same thing, would they not tell the same story? Because it's the truth. Wouldn't the truth be the same both ways?
It would be the same story told differently, not the same story told the same way.
From a man and woman's been married 30 years?
Yeah, I'm still suspicious.
Okay. Just my point. And when you look at it, put yourself in an investigator's shoes. Let's say you think that this lady's got something to do with it, or maybe her husband had something to do with it. You're looking for something you can either impeach what they're telling you. In other words, I can prove you lied to me, and that it's an element of the story that means something, not like I was wearing shorts, but I was really wearing pants. I mean, it doesn't matter if you intentionally lied about that. Technically, it just doesn't matter. It's not a material fact. But if you're lying on a material fact, I'm looking for something. Like I said in the first, you'll hear me say this a lot. I'm looking for something I can go out there and see for myself and know what it is without somebody having to tell me what it is. I can see it myself. So let's see if he does that. Right now, he's about to lay into the foundation is that you didn't do anything wrong by breaking into a freezer. It was in your own house. So I'm curious to see what tact he takes with her and what road he tries to take her down. Let's listen.
So it's not a big deal if you were like, man, I need to know what's in this freezer, and you open up this freezer. But I mean, is that what happened? I mean,
I really was just looking for stuff for dinner tonight. I really was.
What I'm trying to tell you is there's nothing wrong with you saying, hey, this is weird. I need to look at it.
Right. I mean, at the time when I saw the padlock, did I think that was weird? Yeah, I even told my husband that. I said, why would you put a padlock
Well, you said
on
you
your
guys kind of
freezer?
joked around and said, well, maybe Shannon's in there.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't really think that was that. No. I wouldn't even.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're a kid around, but.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's weird.
Right. I just would never.
Okay.
I still can't believe it.
With Ken and Jill's matching statements and their lack of a motive to kill Shannon, detectives let them go. Investigators focus on the man who brought the freezer to Ken's house. Ken identified him as Arturo Novoa, aka Anthony Gonzalez. He was Shannon's boyfriend at the time she disappeared. With the witness's identification and Shannon's name on the lease, detectives obtained a search warrant for Arturo and his girlfriend Katrina Layton's residence. That residence was Shannon's former apartment. During the apartment search, detectives observed a large meat cleaver stuck in the front door frame. They also found a lease agreement signed by Arturo for a different property. Detectives discover another item in the apartment, an owner's manual to the same model of freezer housing the body. Samples of what appeared to be blood on the apartment walls were collected. The blood in the apartment, the freezer manual, and all of the circumstantial evidence they had were enough to obtain arrest warrants for both Arturo and Katrina.
So let's hear Katrina. She's in custody.
The question is, where was she between February and July?
I don't know. I didn't even.
Right now, she's in your freezer.
Well,
So-
that I didn't know.
Oh, okay. You know, I told you about 10 times that the missing girl is dead in your freezer. I'm looking for some kind of reaction. But
Because
You don't look shocked at all.
yeah.
no, it's not that. I'm just trying to process everything.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you something. Forget all this. Did you kill her?
Hell no.
Were you there when she was killed?
No.
Okay.
What?
Well, sure looks like you did.
No. What do you mean? It looks like I did.
All right, we're going to let this go for a bit, but I want to point out or ask you guys, do you notice a difference in the tactic? This is the same investigator. I believe that's done the two other interrogations, interrogations. Do you notice the demeanor change on this?
I do. Yeah.
I'd actually like to hear from them before you explain why it is. There's a particular reason why you see him coming at her like this. It's almost textbook. But Bruce, Fidji, do you notice the difference?
Yeah, of course, much more aggressive, much more forceful, pushing. Like he knows that she knows something, and he wants her to know that. I'd assume is why he's doing it. I'm not exactly sure what the method is, though.
And fair enough. In fact, it may shock some people why he's doing it. Go ahead, Fidji.
Yeah, I agree. He's using a different method. He kind of knows what's going on. He just needs to get her to say it out, and she's already on the defense. So, yeah. But yeah, he changed his tactics. He knows. Right.
But he has a luxury to be able to change his tactics on this. Can you think of what that might be? Actually, instead of asking Gun's question, just let me explain. That's why I left that interim piece in there where they talked about the search warrant that was run. She lived in that apartment with the other guy, Arturo. She's the new girl. But they found enough physical evidence there that they're coming in. If you remember on the very first episode we had with the gentleman, when I called the closer came in, pulled the chair up next to him, man, and just started going at him. I'm not taking your bullshit. I'm not believing any of your stories. None of it makes sense. And he kind of laid into him. This officer is advanced to that stage here, mainly because he has a lot of information that's known. He's got good DNA evidence. Man, having the manual for the freezer that the dead body was in at the house. I mean, all this is starting to add up that he's got enough to probably arrest her regardless. Or actually, she's in custody. She's not getting out of custody. So he's laying into her pretty hard to get her to flip, I would imagine, on the boyfriend, because I think that's where I would go with it, Jason.
Yeah, you can start an interview off. If you have probable cause, you have facts, and you can come in there and you can come in heavy and then back off and then go back to heavy again. What he's doing right now is he's getting her stress up. And he's like, I have enough to arrest you right now. Tell me what you did. And her response, I think we'll see start to fill in blanks here, because he's just pushed her to a point like, oh shit, they have me. And he's trapping her in her own stress is what he's doing.
100%. He's trying to send that stress level all the way to the top and be the only thing that can help you out. And I'm Mr. Investigator here. Tell me how you're a victim in this too. But notice one thing. She was, after the search warrant, that was probable cause, they arrested both her and the other guy, Arturo. They're arrested. She's in custody now, but notice how she's not in jail clothes. There's a tactic that you do. You get them in there, even if you've got to book them in. You don't dress them out. You're not all the way in jail just yet, and we'll pull you out and bring you back to the interview room. It's almost like giving you some daylight. Like, you're not all the way in jail, so you might be able to save yourself here today. But it's also a technique.
Yeah, correct. You put her in a jumper suit right now, and she's clammed up.
Right. She's looking for an attorney because I'm in jail. But I ain't in jail yet, and I might be able to save myself. So I still see a little daylight around you. Maybe I'm smart enough to talk you out of it. But he's taking it to the face. So this is one different. I wanted to point that out because we haven't seen this technique just yet, but we're about to watch it.
She's in your freezer, the one you paid for. So it kind of looks like you killed her.
I can't sit in this room with the door shut. I'm getting claustrophobic.
Can't use the small rooms.
I didn't do anything to this girl.
Can't use the small rooms.
How are you going to accuse me of this? What the? Man.
Detectives then speak with Arturo.
Must be serious enough to pull me out of work.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that if I didn't have to.
I missed out on 4 hours of work today.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read you your rights. I'm going to tell you what changed, and I'm going to have questions for you. You may want to answer them, you may not. You may have questions for me. I don't know. You're definitely under arrest. I wouldn't have sent them out there if there wasn't a warrant for your arrest. Let me start out by reading your rights.
I don't have to answer anything now, even though I'm signing this, right? But
No,
it's just
correct.
allowing you to question.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to answer anything you don't want to. Okay. The other day I asked you about the rumors about you burning things up.
Yes.
Okay. You told me you did.
Correct.
Okay. Is that still true?
Correct.
You did not burn things up.
I did not.
Okay. Did you, at any point, take a freezer to a house in Camel?
I did not.
You did not.
I did not.
Okay. So you didn't go to Kenny Eschenbaugh's house on Devitt with a freezer, with a padlock on it, and put it in his basement?
I did not.
You did.
And leave and go get an extension cord and plug it back in.
You didn't do that.
I did not.
Okay. Okay. So up until now, has anything we talked about not been true?
Everything.
The last time you saw Shannon was when?
I
Can't
don't
remember.
even know. Like the end of February.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about this tactic. This is the other party that's accused, arrested, as you heard him say, for the homicide of the missing woman. But he's not doing the same tactic with him like he was doing with her. Am I right, Jason?
Yeah, he's painting him into a box right now. And this guy's demeanor versus the first guy we watched, he's got a fuck you attitude right now. This, I would say too, I'd like to know this guy's criminal history. He's been through this before. He's got a definite fuck you, and the detective right now is painting him into a corner. And my prediction is he's going to come out and prove everything he just said wrong.
Right. This is what we say. Let them tell enough story. Let them commit themselves to a story that you can't really walk back without just saying, I'm a damn liar. I think that's happening. But the criminal history, Jason, you're right. He has actually been to the penitentiary. He's a convicted felon. So, and you do see this a lot, folks, with convicted felons. It's almost it appears to be relaxed, but it is an FU. I'm on guard. Let's go. I've been here before. Kind of an attitude. But I'm curious to see how this investigator, Jason, he's not as polished as some as you see, right? He's a little more of the maybe the old knuckle dragger kind of detectives, right? You still with us, Jason?
Yeah, sorry. He's old school, but I like what he's doing here. He's setting a trap.
No, I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying he's not being smooth like, hey, brother, I understand, and all this other business. He's interesting. So I'm curious to see how he tightens the noose around this guy.
You have no idea what became of her? Where she ended up?
I do not. I have said this to everybody.
Okay. When I told you the other day at your house that some people who were acquaintances of yours said that you burned your things up.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
I don't understand how, like, acquaintance of who exactly means. Because I don't know anybody that she personally knows. Which was
talking about your people that know you, not her.
Oh.
Okay. People that know you said this, that you burned your things up. Now I have people that know you saying you brought a freezer to her house. When they opened it up, guess what they found?
What did they find?
Why do you think you're here? The charge is abuse of a corpse.
Excuse me?
Abuse of a corpse.
Are you being serious right now?
I'm not fooling with you, man.
You're 100% serious.
I would not make
right
this
now.
up. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't believe it.
He's like, man, I didn't even know that was a charge.
With you at, what is it, 10 o'clock at night? Now, if I wasn't talking about a body in a freezer that you brought to a guy's house. Not making it up, man. I'm trying to figure out how all these people that are not her friends, they're people that you know, are saying.
What do you got, Fitchy?
I was going to say, this guy's kind of stupid. Wouldn't he know when he was reading his Miranda rights that there was probably a charge coming behind it? That's essentially telling the person he's being arrested, right?
He didn't think there was a charge called abuse of corpse. It sounds bad. Think about it. If you've been in the penitentiary before, you're going to go back to the penitentiary and your charge is abuse of corpse. That could be like
necrophilia.
Right.
Yeah, so, I know a guy who got charged with that.
Jason, what do you think? Oh my God, I don't want to know. Fitchy.
I'll tell you the story.
But Jason, what do you think? Don't you think it was the nature of the charge? He's thinking murder. He's thinking he's in there on murder when the guy hits him with abuse of a corpse as the charge because they can't prove how she died just yet. I think that's what caught him off guard. Is like, really? That's like being charged, like almost like sounds like pedophile. What do you think, Jason?
I honestly, we had a case like, anyway, probably based on his mindset, like I'll go to prison for murder, but I'm not going to prison for abuse of a dead body.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's, that's not a charge you're going to wear on your chest up and down the cell block. I promise you. Abuse of a corpse, but it's something that if you mutilate a corpse or try to dismember it to get rid of it, that's a charge in a lot of states. But I want to before we start the video again, B's got a comment that's interesting. She says the husband and wife came up with their story knowing the scene was getting hot, so they decided to discover Star together, thinking they could get away as witnesses, leaving Arturo holding the murder. I get where the theory that's there, but I don't know that we have anything that supports it. Has anybody on the panel heard any evidence or testimony or leaning in the way that the husband and wife are more complicit, other than suspicion, or more complicit than what they've said?
Not yet.
I'm kind of going away from that because he brought the freezer over with a padlock. In other words, he didn't want them getting into it. Why else would he have that padlock on it?
Correct. And I think you really do have to put it into that low resource station in life where unfortunately a lot of Americans live. I'm not saying this is not necessarily horrible for this group of people, but resources are guarded. Losing a lot of meat would be a big deal. If I hit my neighbor up because I couldn't pay my light bill, can I put a freezer over there? Of course, he's more than happy to let me do that. But I'm gonna put a lock on it because he's probably be more than happy to get into my meat. I don't want him to do that because he had paid for it. And then he's going to hit me back with, "Hey, man, you're burning down some of my resources because that freezer got plugged into the garage. That's pulling so many kilowatts per hour." And they're going to want some money. I'm just saying no resources exchanged in a group of people like this without some monetary or some sort of a resource exchange, I guess is a better
I'll
deal.
go back to the same thing. Hey, Joe, come over and help me burn this garbage. And hey, Joe, do you mind if I bring a freezer over that's padlocked and store it in your basement?
Well, absolutely. I would say go to the meth circle, Jason. I think you might have been gone when I explained this, but go to a meth circle ring group of folks where somebody needs to ride to the grocery store because they don't have a car. The car is broke down. Or grandma's got the car. They can get a friend to take them to the grocery store, but that friend will never take them to the grocery store and not ask for gas money. In fact, a lot of people in this station of life will ask for things. Hey, I've got $10. Can you take me to here? I've got $20. Can you take me to do this? But the neighborly exchange of resources doesn't happen at a certain level, is my point. And I think that's where this group of friends are. They remind me of a meth group.
Yeah, you guys can't see this, but in the private chat in line, I missed it, and I saw that girl's comment, and I said, "Meth, anyone?" I agree with you. It's a drug circle.
Right. But also, again, if you kind of understand the way things work, then the husband and wife story kind of comports. I'm not saying that it would happen to me, but I'm saying I've seen groups of people where, yes, exactly what it be. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was meat over there. Was a padlock put on it so the guy didn't get there and get his meat. If you want something you can pay me for, you can take some off the money you're charging me for electricity, but there will be no exchange on gratis. Boy, look at B. She must be half a bottle deep. She says, "I freaking love this show, Joe." She's drinking, but we appreciate you. All right, guys, let's keep going on this and see where they get with Arturo.
Yes.
Alrighty then. Wow. Alrighty then. Something's wrong here. This is up.
It's
I
kind
need to
of
make a phone call.
it's kind of too many people.
The thing is, I don't do anything but work and sleep. So when somebody tells me that they're even remotely talking about me or saying anything about me at all, it kind of baffles me. Because all I do is work and sleep, work and sleep, work and sleep.
Okay. Got all these people who know you.
Well, we're gonna have to. I'm definitely gonna have to make a phone call
Okay.
because this is some f- shit that you're telling me,
Yeah.
and I don't really believe you, but I have no choice but to believe you because I'm sitting here.
Well, we don't do this for.
We wouldn't make it up.
We sure as shit wouldn't arrest you for this not having happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? Obviously.
So I basically got all these fingers just being pointed at me.
And we're really kind of hoping that it's Shannon.
This is
Because if it's not, then this guy says you brought a body to his house and it's somebody else and Shannon's still missing, then what are you, some kind of serial killer? So we're hoping it's Shannon.
definitely not, man. This is gonna take so long. I'm losing my job.
You're going to lose your job? Did you hear what I said? This ain't about your Outback dishwasher job anymore. There's a body in a freezer. And the guy said you brought it to his house.
Yeah.
Now, whether it's her or not, you understand whether it's her or not, doesn't matter. Your dishwasher job at Outback is okay? And that's a weird thing for you to say. Like, my job's
Trying to tell you, like, if I'm trying to tell you I don't know what the f- telling me, then obviously, I mean, excuse my language, but
okay.
if you're trying to tell me all
So-
these fingers are pointing
So
at
listen,
me and
I'm
I
telling you,
supposedly went to this house and supposedly put this thing in this guy's house, this is insanity to me. It really is. So I'm trying to figure out where something might have, like,
I'm
somewhere
telling you,
might have went wrong.
I'm telling
or-
you that 4 people who know you said you burned her shit up, and now 2 people who know you said you brought a freezer with a body in it to their house, and you're talking to me about your dishwasher job. I'm like, what the is wrong with you? Because that is not the normal reaction.
But I just got done telling you I don't talk to a lot of people,
Okay,
like at all.
4
Like,
people.
literally, I can count the amount of people that I talk to in my
Anthony,
hand.
4 people saw you burning your shit, and 2 people said you dropped the freezer off at their house with a body in it. Did you hear what it said?
I'm hearing what
Okay.
you're telling me.
All right. So I don't care who you talk to and what you do with your personal life.
Why would I do something like that is my
I have
point.
no idea why you would do something like that. None. I've got a few ideas. I even got a few ideas that you didn't do something like that. But you know who did. But that's something I would like to hear from you. So I've tried to learn everything I can about what's going on in your life to the best I can do without being in your life. Because you are a private person.
And what have you learned from my life, sir?
There's a couple people in your life. You're getting pushed and pulled in a couple different directions. You've got a job. You had a few scrapes with us. Nothing serious. I've learned that inside your apartment there was some blood, which don't really look too good right now when this girl's missing. I would like to
The
know.
only blood that I can possibly think that you might have
Listen,
found in my
there's a lot of
apartment is
reasons.
mine, for
There's a
sure.
lot of reasons why there might be blood in your apartment. But when you add that onto the fact that these people saw you burning some shit, and when we went through the shit, figured out it was hers because her bracelet was in there. And when you add in that these other people who know you have a freezer in their basement that they say you brought over there, it kind of, we're past the point of no return on this thing. Like, you didn't bring a freezer with a body in it, and you don't know what's going on.
Right.
That don't happen. So there's a big part of your life that I'm not a part of, and that would be the part where you got a freezer with a body in it. I wasn't with you.
Apparently.
So
Like, how do I end up in this position?
it would be very interesting to me to find out how you came upon a freezer with a body in it. That would be very interesting to me right now. It would also be very interesting to me if that's Shannon in there. It's a bad thing to say, but I'm hoping it is, because if it ain't, then I gotta wonder what the do I got here. If you got a freezer with a body in it, it ain't hers. What the see what I'm saying? So I got a lot of questions, and none of them are good. You have an apartment that was your missing girlfriend's apartment that you're still living in.
It used to be ours, but yes.
Yeah. You also have a new house that you guys are paying rent on that you don't live in. And according to Katrina, the only thing that you guys owned in that place was this freezer. You have a half a house that you're paying for that you don't live in, that you don't keep nothing in there but a freezer that just happens to have your dead ex-girlfriend in it. So it kind of looks bad.
I don't have anything in that house. We literally had
Not
no
anymore,
furniture,
no. Yeah,
nothing. We literally had nothing in that apartment.
So you never moved
Nothing.
anything into that apartment?
We never moved nothing in that apartment.
Okay.
Like, we had nothing in there. All we did was just pay the rent. All we did was just simply get an apartment ahead of time so we had a place to lay our head. You know? My
Okay.
lease is up in September. Like, I gotta make sure I got a place to stay. I mean, yeah, I got my apartment on the east side, but that thing is just, it's basically tore down already. Like, I have no bathroom there. I can't really have company there. I do music. I can't really be loud there. I mean, I can barely walk without my mother screaming at me. So, I mean, I don't really have any leg room over there.
We're like way off the beaten path of what we're really talking about here. There's a freezer with a body in it in Camel that the guy that you do music with says you brought there.
It's impossible because I didn't do no such thing.
Okay. Shannon has a direction card. She did. And Shannon's direction card got used in a bunch of places after she went missing, at the same time that yours did. Did you?
I don't understand how, if I don't even know exactly when she's even come up missing, to even know that she's missing in the first place.
Well,
Okay. You guys, we've talked about you kind of get him to commit to a story. I think this detective is trying to drive a little emotional response in this guy. This guy's staying cool, arm's distance away. In his mind, he's thinking it's your word against mine, my word against all these other people. And he's also we saw this in the very first interrogation with the other felon. He's also trying to figure out how much do you know. He's familiar enough with the system, know what, give it some credit, maybe in his mind anyway, some credit to the weight of evidence. I think throwing this direction card, which may be like an EBT, a public assistance card, or some sort of ATM card, even, who knows. But this card being used at the same time, he's turning the screws on it to try to get this guy to start thinking his story's not right, like lacing the shoe, as I've explained before. Jason, what do you think?
I think they have two people in a house. I'm assuming they have DNA in the house that comes back to Shannon. I guarantee the detective actually knows that it's Shannon's body, and he's using that as a ploy. But I give this detective a lot of credit, because at this point, knowing what I know and listening to this dude talk like this, I'm turning up the heat big time at this point, and I'm saying, you want to know what we know? Here's what we know. And but what they need from the detective's point of view, was it the girlfriend or was it this guy? Who killed them? And that's where he has to walk that fine line to get from that point to say, was it you or her? That's what they can't prove right now. But I'm talking out loud, but I give this detective credit. I would be blowing up inside, like, I want to, I'm going to come at you hard as I can right now with everything I have and prove it wrong.
I agree. His demeanor, knowing his criminal history, and the fact that they've got enough to arrest him even on abuse of a corpse. So it's not so critical that I dance with this guy, in my opinion. Dance with him too long. I've got enough evidence, pretty strong evidence, and I'm like you. I think I would reach the point where I'm going to push this to, I want an attorney, or I did it and let me sign the confession. That's going to be the outcome. I'm going to push it until one of those two things happen, I think, at this point in the interview.
Agreed.
Fidji, Bruce, you want to say anything about this? Don't have to. I'll just give you an opportunity.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say right now. I think you're spot on.
Yeah, I'm good too.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's go back to it.
Okay. So
How any of this would make sense to me in the first place?
okay, well, let's make sense of that. Do you use Shannon's direction card regularly?
No, I used to. She was around.
Until when?
Till the last time she was around.
Which was when?
I just told you. I don't have to
Refresh
direct
my-
you. You want me to give you an exact date? I feel
No,
like
give
you
me
guys
a-
are trying to catch me up.
Give us a month.
Give me a
some
month.
crap.
Give me a month.
February?
Okay, so in March and April, when you were using her direction card, did you happen to be with her and just, you're not telling us you were with her? Were you helping her hide out?
So you want to ask me about somebody else's direction card when you know that it's illegal to share, trade, or sell food stamps in the first place. And you want to sit here and ask me about somebody's direction card?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Oh, hang on. That's pretty good. What do you think, Jason, about that response? What's that going to do to you as the interrogator?
They got video.
Yeah, I think I would hit him with the video, but hey, I'm going to give the guy some credit. He threw it, but it's like, oh man, I don't want to incriminate myself on this low level crime over here, sharing benefits because I bought her card for her and I didn't want to tell you that. So that's explaining why my card's being there. So I'm going to give the guy a little bit of credit for coming up with that, because that would have to, if I hadn't thought of it already, that would spin me around, but I would be the same way as like, oh yeah, well, I got you on video swipe. Well, he's got him on video swiping. He's all the guy's going to, it's not bad, Jason. He can claim I bought her card from her.
Correct. Even if they don't have video, that's a great play.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how this guy, I'm intrigued. I want to see how this investigator gets around that, because that's not a bad little move. I bet he skips it and maybe he doesn't pick up on it, but that's a good move.
Wow.
Absolutely.
As if what you're telling me isn't bad enough.
As if after I tell you
you're worried
a
about
body in a freezer, direction card fraud is baby shit. Yeah, absolutely.
Can I make a phone call? Because I'm going to need to obviously get a hold of a lawyer.
Oh, would you like to talk to a lawyer?
I would like to call my lawyer, yes.
Okay.
With Arturo
Okay, folks, and I want to bring this up because I hear this a lot when we have these conversations on our X Spaces and in the police video review about how officers betray an oath, so to speak. But this is the Constitution. You just witnessed it. This is how it works. Did you notice he said earlier, it's like, I need to make a phone call. Well, I need to make a phone call is not asking for an attorney. You have the right to an attorney. And he's signing a waiver saying, I'm waiving all my rights, but I can reject this or withdraw this consent that I've just given you at any time by saying I want an attorney or I want a lawyer. But in fact, I think it was last week after the interrogation in X Space, there was somebody that went back where he said, I'm pretty sure that this guy was pretty much implying that he wanted an attorney. And we kind of got it in the back and forth is that you have to be very implicit. It can't be, I want to make a phone call. I want to talk. It was the girl. I want to talk to my dad. That's what the gentleman said. Well, pretty much her dad was like her attorney, but it wasn't her attorney. But do you see how quick this interview ended? And Jason, am I lying when I say that's the way it is? I want an attorney. Start packing your papers up. There's really no more. You can't do anything else. It would be violating the man's constitutional rights.
100%.
But I did want to point that out, just where it's at. And I would call out any officer that continues to ask any more questions after attorney privilege has been invoked.
Denying any involvement, detectives speak with Katrina again.
I wanted a new freezer for the house because we needed it for the fridge and the freezer.
Katrina, he's going to say he doesn't know nothing about no freezer, and you're making that up.
All right, sorry to stop it again, but Jason, I want a panel's prediction on what tact he is going to take with her. Jason, which way do you think? Or let's go to Bruce Wayne first. Bruce Wayne, what tact do you think he's going to take with her on this second interview?
Oh, he's going to say he's throwing you under the bus. You got to make a deal before he makes one.
Okay, Fidgy.
Yep, same. He's putting her on the defense and letting her know he's going to try and set her up.
Jason.
This is a 100% Reed School tactic. They're going to plot each other against each other.
Yeah, I think it's in the introduction of the manual of the Reed. 100%. But he's going to flip her as a victim. Look, you're a victim to this guy just like the dead girl. In fact, those words may come out of his mouth. He's looking for her to turn on him. She's the mortar that fills in all the cracks they may have. It's a pretty solid case. They both got forensic and plenty of testimony. Even testimony, by the way, that holds more weight when it's self-incriminating. She would have to incriminate herself to testify. So that's where he's laying in. Let's see how successful. Let's see if our predictions are correct first, and see how successful he is.
Well, then how did her body get in a freezer over to Kenny's?
Exactly.
I don't know that. I mean, I gave him the money. I thought he was buying one. I don't know.
Listen, if you gave him money to buy a freezer, and there's a freezer.
It was supposed to be at the new house. That's all I know. I know I didn't kill her. I have kids. I have a job. I know I didn't kill her.
All he's got to do is trade you for him. That's it. You see where this is going? You understand we're at the end of this road?
So what am I supposed to do?
Just tell the truth. I don't care what you said before. Just tell the truth. Tell us what you know about everything. Stop doing this and just tell the truth. It's not going to get better.
No, I know that.
Okay.
I just know I gave him the money to buy the freezer. I thought.
Trina, tell me everything you know about everything. It's the only way to fix this.
I just know what he told me. I don't know what he did.
Tell me what he told you.
When I moved in, he told me that she was gone, that she left with some guy in his car, and that. I'm sorry. And she left with some guy, and she took all her stuff, and then she said she was gonna be back for the dog, and then she never came back for the dog. And he said that they had an agreement about the car, that he was gonna drive the car until she came back for it. And then she didn't go back to the car either.
You understand this looks like you did it and he helped you.
I know.
That's what it looks like. And me sitting here trying to be impartial, I can't assume he killed her. I can't. He was getting what he wanted from her. The only person with motive here was you, hon. Understand? You see what I'm saying?
I get it, but I mean, why would I even do something like that? I have my kids, I have my job.
Your boyfriend. You understand how many people are in jail for that? It's not complicated. It's real simple. She took what was yours.
Yeah, that doesn't make me a killer. No, you're right. I've been in a situation.
One more point, since we're talking about interrogations. Remember the very first episode with the guy that kidnapped and killed that little girl? How he, instead of him being detailed, I didn't do it because I was somewhere else. I didn't do it because of this reason. He would say, I would never do that. That's something I would never do. I'm not like that. And I think we talked about in that episode, you and I, Jason, at least, that when you do these interviews or interrogations, you'll hear people, especially when they're not being truthful, say some of the same things. It's almost weird, especially in narcotics investigations. You almost hear the same story. It just happened in a different location at a different time to a different person, but almost all the stories are the same, and even the same words being used. Have you seen that, Jason?
Yeah, she's spinning out there. I would never do that. I have a job and I have kids. That's her. Yeah, 100%.
And I don't know if that's something in the psyche. I don't know where that comes from, but you'll hear it. Now, when I say verbatim, I've heard suspects say the exact same things as what she said and what the gentleman, well, not the gentleman, the child killer in the first episode that we did. And I've always wondered, especially with narcotics, it would run like meth folks had the same meth story. Started out one way, and it's like it depends on where they're at in their addiction, is that the storyline is almost the same. And a lot of times the culpability when they're denying it is also kind of the same. And I've always wondered about that. It's got to come from the environment. It's not like there's a class out there, everybody's teaching how to keep it together like a Democrat.
Can I make a prediction, or do you want me to hold off?
Man, make a prediction.
I think this gal and the victim got into it, and this gal killed her. And I think Antonio, or whatever the fuck his name is, helped hide the body, put it in the freezer, brought it to everybody's house.
I think that you are quoting what the detectives here, and I think this is Youngstown, Ohio. What the detectives, I think that's their scenario too, but there's still a lot of holes in it. If you had to take it to court, you couldn't prove that just yet. But we'll see what he gets out of this fine young lady.
Of course not.
I didn't like her, but I
understand that. But you got to understand what it looked like. She screwed your boyfriend, then she disappeared, and then you got all her shit. And she's in your freezer that he says he don't know nothing about. Just tell me what happened. It's got to be better than what it looks. It can't be as bad as it looks.
I mean, I didn't.
It cannot be as bad as it looks, can it?
I don't know anymore.
Katrina, did you kill her?
No.
Okay. Did you take her apart?
No.
Did you put her in that freezer?
No.
Did you put her in Kenny's house?
No, I didn't even go to Kenny's.
Okay. So tell me what did happen. Because nothing you're saying is making no sense, huh? You can't leave it like this. It doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to look at what you say and think it's reasonable. Nobody.
Swear on my kids, I didn't kill her.
You understand, you are swearing this on your kids because when you go,
I didn't kill
you understand
her,
what's going to happen to you?
I didn't kill her.
You're going to go over there and you're not going to come back for a long time.
I didn't kill her.
This is it. You're leaving. You're going for a ride. This is it right now. This is your moment. What you do in the next 30 seconds is going to depend on what happens in the rest of your life.
I like this guy.
I like your kids.
I understand.
Okay.
I'm trying not to panic because
I don't want you to panic. No reasonable alternative. Right?
What do you mean?
You don't have any reasonable explanation for why this woman's in your freezer.
I mean, obviously somebody put her there.
Okay.
Obviously.
Thanks.
But If Anthony did it, then he needs to fess up to it.
Not if he didn't do it. Not if you did it. If he's helping you, then he doesn't need to fess up to it. And he has his rights too, you understand?
I understand.
Okay. He didn't buy a freezer. You did. He didn't buy an apartment. You did. He was getting what he wanted from her and you. Why would he kill her?
I was just under the assumption that we were getting back on our feet.
You're not getting back on your feet.
Because
It's not going to be okay.
I was trying to pay stuff.
He's going to jail and so are you. You're not going to get back on your feet. That's not going to happen now. That's done.
But I'm telling you, I didn't kill her. Why are you asking me if did I take her apart? Why are you even asking me that?
Because she's not one piece.
What do you mean she's not one? You just said there's a girl in the freezer.
Yeah,
though.
well, you know what? She's in the freezer, but she isn't all one nice big piece anymore.
Oh my god.
So you see what I'm saying? The only reason that we even think you bought it in July is because you said so. How did I know you didn't buy it when you moved in? Because there was a dead girl on the floor and you didn't want your kids falling over. You see what I'm saying?
I get it.
I knocked on the door on July 17th. And on July 17th, that body moved. All the way to Camel.
I didn't even know you.
One of the days when I was knocking on the door and everybody was playing hide and seek with me was the day that the body got moved.
I'm being honest with you guys, though. The only reason I don't open that door is because what was going on with him and Tanya.
Okay, but how do I know it's not because that freezer was on the other side of the door with a girl in it and you were like, because that's how I would have been. You see what I'm saying?
No.
I'm knocking on the door and there's a dead girl in there. You got to be like,
I mean, I get it. I get it. I get where you guys are coming from. I mean, I keep to myself. I work all the time. I take care of my kids.
listen, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take care of your kids and go to work. I don't care. You bought a freezer. He said, what freezer? You didn't say what freezer. You said, yeah, I bought a freezer. It's at my new house.
Yeah, because I didn't have anything to hide.
Except the dead girl who used to be banging your boyfriend, and now you got all her shit. You do have something to hide. You are the picture of someone who has something to hide. You see what I'm saying? That's the point I'm trying to make.
I'm so confused.
What are you confused about? You bought a bunch of shit for a place. You bought a bunch of shit that you never used for a place that you've never been to. For a man who's been around on you, whose girlfriend is missing, and now she's in your freezer. What are you confused about? There's no confusion there for me. What I'm confused about is if you're not saying, God damn it, all right, this is what happened.
Okay, I don't know. I didn't listen to this. I just cut portions out of this to make it fit in the time frame. Do we have any predictions? Is this tact working? Is she going to give it up?
I think he's getting there, and I'm looking at motive, and what he's saying right now. The biggest motive is the two girls had a disagreement. She got in her face, and boyfriend finds out about it and disposes of the body to cover it up. That's my prediction.
Do you think she gives up the story in this interview, this interrogation?
No, I think she's going to downplay as much as she can, but I'm guessing the facts will disprove her. But they're getting close. I think
B says that she's going to give it up totally 100%. Burton says doesn't seem to be working. Could be wrong. So he's way to go, Burton. Make a decision there. That way, no matter how it plays, you were halfway right. What do you think, Fidgy?
I think it's going to be tough getting her to give him up because one, she's absolutely taken with him. She's been by his side for years, giving him all her money, everything like that. So I think it's going to be, and plus by her giving him up, she kind of implicates herself. So he could still count on her. He's going to. So I think she's saying, oh, one thing. B, I don't know who Tanya is, but Star and Shannon are the same person. Star was just her nickname.
But B's still not wrong. There are a lot, but you'll find those in myth circles.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, Bruce, does she give it up or does she keep the party line? I love my man and I'll stand by him.
I think she's halfway there. A little more time in that room, and she'll sing like a bird.
My prediction is that she doesn't give it up. I don't think she's going to crack, but let's see.
And you know what? I hung tight for him, but I'm not going to prison and being away from my kid for the rest of my life. If you're not saying that, then I got to be thinking, you killed her.
I'm telling you, I don't know how she got there. And I didn't kill her.
This is going to be really bad. You're going to go over to the jail, and by tomorrow, your booking picture's going to be all over the newspaper.
Yeah, I realize this.
You're going to be on TV.
I realize this. For something I didn't do.
Well,
You're telling me that there's this parts of a body that are fitting in a freezer. I can't even wrap my head around it. I can't. Who does stuff like that?
either you or him.
Well, it wasn't
or
me.
Both.
It wasn't me. That freezer did not get over there by me.
I know.
Let me slam on the brakes. No, I don't watch the entire. I think this one was an hour and 45 minutes or so. I don't watch the entire interview. I cut the parts out where it's someone giving their opinion, so to speak. There are even pieces that I'll leave in to tell the story. I did at the end to tell the exact story because there were numerous interrogations and interviews and things done that we don't see here, but it gives the conclusion of the case or close to it. So no, it's not an unfair advantage. B. Back to our regular scheduled.
Oh, sorry. Are these this hour 45-minute video? Is this over the course of a day or several days, or how long?
Several days. You're going to see the third interview of Arturo. We don't get to see the second. This is the first interview of Katrina, and I think you saw original interviews of every other actor here. But there was subsequent interviews, and this channel, and I'll plug it at the end. They do a pretty good job of kind of telling you the ancillary investigation that goes on behind this. And you've heard Jason and I speak about it. The information that you get inside this room, now you've got to have somebody or yourself. You're going to have to go out there and confirm or deny it. Otherwise, it's just some story this chick told you sitting across the table. You've got to be able to go vet it.
Doesn't matter.
I did not put it there.
Totally agree with you. Never said you did.
I did not put her in it.
Didn't say you took it over there. Don't know if you put her in it.
I definitely didn't put her in it.
Wouldn't have took much.
That girl weighed more than I did.
Yeah.
You can tell by pictures.
Yeah, but not now she don't.
I can't lift over 10 pounds.
That's about the size of the pieces.
I'm saying I cannot lift over 10 pounds because of my back and my shoulder.
They're trying to figure out why break her up like that. Because he could have picked her up easy. You see what I'm saying? Everything you say makes it sound like it's you. You couldn't pick her up. Okay, that explains a lot. Because he could. He could pick her right up and pop her in there, not a problem. You couldn't. Unless you made her into small pieces, which just happens to be what happened.
That's just gross.
I know. This is going to get crazy, and you have children who are going to go to school,
I know.
and they're going to say, your mommy chopped people up. How many did you get? You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to put this thing down now.
No, I realize that.
And this is going to be ugly and
I know.
Public.
I know.
Very public.
I know.
You understand that this is the kind of thing that may bring, like, CNN here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No matter how bad it is, I need to know what happened to Shannon. And hope to God that is her.
I mean,
Because if that ain't her, I don't know what to tell you.
I know that I did not do anything to her.
Okay.
I know I didn't do anything.
Tell me what you know about what happened to Shannon. Please tell me that is Shannon. Because if it's not Shannon, we're going to have, I don't know what's going to happen here. Tell me that is Shannon. Tell me it's not somebody else, because I got some other missing girls right now.
I don't even know how to answer that.
I'm asking you. Please tell me that is her and it's not somebody else.
I don't know if it's her because I didn't put it there.
I mean, I'm pretty sure she's been dead a while. You know, I mean, we'll know exactly how much, but I'm saying March.
That answer is
the
very
week you moved
telling.
in, she moved out the hard way. Katrina.
Tell me why. What are you reading out of that as a interrogator?
Tell me it's not Shannon. I don't know. You're involved. Somebody who was not involved would say, I don't fucking know who it is. I don't know what you're talking about. Her answer was like, you know what the fuck's going on here.
I see your point. I don't know the investigative value out of that. It does tell me that I keep pushing to see if I can get her to crack and say, yeah. Let me explain what happened. I'll draw you a picture.
I'm just saying that is not a normal answer to that question. An innocent person would have answered it much differently. She knows.
I agree. I think an innocent person would be able to tell their side of the story a lot cleaner than what she's been able to say. She clearly is involved in some capacity. Now, what we could prove at this point is she's involved in some capacity.
I started knocking on your door, and it appears to have created a reaction. It appears that when I knocked on your door on that Monday morning, and I got no answer, and I started looking around that apartment, it caused this body to be moved in that freezer. I'm trying to think of every possible reason why, even though everything's doing this to you, it's not you. I'm trying.
What I'm saying is, if I for 1 second even thought that there was a dead body in a freezer, I mean, considering the fact that I have my kids and everything else,
all that.
I mean, I would have came to you guys.
Okay.
Because of the fact that that's my kids, that's, my job, my career. Like,
I know, I'm just, this is how it looks.
I get that. I just don't, that's her in there. I didn't have nothing to do with it.
Oh, it's not her in there. Did you have something to do with it?
I didn't have nothing to do with it either way.
Okay. You have anything to do with the girl in the freezer?
No.
Okay.
I don't have anything to do with the fact that she's dead, that she's in a freezer, or how she got over there. Here's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Here's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
I want to be able to go home to my kids.
Well, I understand that, but you got to understand something here. I'm not about to trade. I mean, how would you feel if somebody said, well, I just want to go home to my kids, so I'm going to tell you whatever you want to hear?
No,
that's not what we're doing.
That's not
Listen,
what I'm
when
doing.
I talk about...
That's not
listen,
what I'm doing.
I'm talking about bolt of lightning, knock me off my horse kind of shit is what I'm looking for.
This is what
That's what I'm looking for. Okay? And you got to understand, you may have a problem here anyhow, depending on what it is you got to talk about.
I need basically to know what to do to be able to go home to my kids because I had nothing to do with this.
Well,
I had nothing
here's what I'm going to tell you.
What do I do?
With everything I know right now, you're going to be charged with abuse of a corpse. And you're going to go tonight. The longer this goes on, the more it looks like you're just doing what you got to do to save your own ass. And I'm exhausted. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's been 8 hours and that's it. That's all I got. You may come out of this fine. I kind of get the feeling you won't, but you may. It happens. What I think might happen here is you killed this girl.
I didn't kill her.
Okay, well, listen.
All right, another round of predictions. Is she going to break?
I have a question.
Anybody seen anything that changes their mind?
Well, I still think she's right on the edge, but I have a question. Are they allowed to lie during investigations? Can they say, "Well, he's saying that you did it"? Like
100%. Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Why are they not doing that?
Well, it's also, I think, called the prisoner's dilemma when you're sitting in the hot seat, because they can lie to you. Are they telling you the truth? Or are they telling you a lie?
So yeah, I would be pushing that a lot harder, saying like, "Well, he's signing a deal right now, like, or he's right on the edge, or something like that. Like he's selling you out, saying you did it." Yeah, I think if they could break that bond, because she's still loyal to him, they could break that bond between them, then I think she'd flip.
It's a tactic. I don't know that I would employ it as liberally as maybe others. It gets funny in there when you get into love. And you can see things that look to be true and it not be. But so do you think she's still on the verge? But you're not going to you predict that she's still going to crack, right?
Well, she was really defensive. Now she's kind of like, I don't know. She seems a lot more subdued. So yeah, I'm going to stick with my assessment that she's breaking slowly, definitely very slowly, but
So she's going to break. Okay. B says, yes, she's going to break with real tears for herself this time. Well, B's got it down. Fidgy, have you seen anything that changes your initial assessment that she's going to hold tight?
Nope. And I think she's just calming down because it's hard to keep that drama up. And she realized somewhere in there that the more defensive she sounded, the worse she sounded. So she kind of quit that to keep herself going.
Jason?
I'm kind of thinking that if she breaks, it's going to be blame on the guy. And I think she's still in self-preservation mode. She's still thinking about her kids and she wants to go home. I think if she breaks right now, and I'm not saying she's going to tell the truth, but I think she might break on potentially a lie. Like, I'm innocent here, it was him. So, or, I mean, the detective really needs to, honest to God, at this point, I would be standing up with both my hands on that table and borderline yelling at her. I would really turn the heat on right now.
I'm right there with Jason. I don't think that she's going to break in a full-blown confession. I think she's going to go full self-preservation mode, flipping on him.
So Jason, your prediction is she's going to crack or she's not?
She's going to crack, but cracking might not be the truth.
Okay, I got you. I think she's in the deal phase. What kind of deal can I get? And I think if the deal sounds reasonable to her, she will. But I still don't think she will, because I think right now in her mind is I need to go home, not go to jail. I think anything that includes her going to jail is may be off. But I may be wrong. I say she doesn't. I say she holds. She doesn't crack. So we got a Bruce crack. Fidgy, you still say she's going to hold tight? Yeah. I think that's what your answer were. And Jason, she's going to crack. So Jason changed his mind, and so did B. I don't remember B changed her mind, but B damn sure thinks she's going to crack. And whatever that name is, Qualinatus, he says you called it. I think that's our friend James, but I'm not sure what those some assembly of letters are supposed to mean. Well, let's go back and let's see what she said. She does.
Not that I don't believe you, but I don't believe you. You see what I'm saying? Because I have to keep that as a possibility. You guys are neck and neck on the finish line here. You know what I mean? What it's going to come down to is who says what first. Period. That's what it always comes down to in these kinds of situations. No. We're past the part. This reuniting thing, you got to know it's done, right? Like, no matter what happens after today, this is done. You and him, you're not going to end up in the same place. I don't think. So unless you got that lightning bolt, we got to go. And I am exhausted.
I feel like I got into a mess that I didn't expect to get into.
Well, that's what everybody's saying. That's what.
And I don't.
That's what Andrew's saying.
I don't.
Poor Andrew's like, I think I helped him get rid of the dead girl stuff. Because he thought we were arresting.
The whole situation scared me.
I understand.
The whole situation scared me.
Listen, I get all of that. If you told me right now this is what really happened, I would completely understand you. Because
let her talk.
This kind of thing doesn't happen to most people every day. Just because I go through it 12 times a year doesn't mean you do. You know what I got to say? I like to stay in this room until you tell me the truth or you ask for an attorney. And I don't like to walk out that door until I have the truth or you ask me for an attorney. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is this. Stop everything else. 2 things. Tell me what happened or ask for an attorney. Because I'm not going to be able to rest knowing that I didn't stay in here as long as I possibly could with you. So which way is it going to be? You're there. I can see it. I can look at you right now and tell that you are about had it with this because I am too.
I just...
Either tell me the truth or ask for an attorney, please.
I agree with the tactic. I like the tactic.
Way too long. Even I think you've been...
I don't. She's rocking back and forth. Let her talk.
I'm really scared that I'm going to go to jail. There's something I need to do.
Okay. I will tell you that I will keep working every possible lead to do one of 2 things, because I have 2 jobs, to either catch you for what you did or free you for what you didn't do. I have 2 jobs. Now, in the meantime, one of 2 options here. Tell me you want to stop talking, you want to speak to an attorney, or tell me what it is you've been holding back. Because if there's one thing I know from being in this room with you this long, you've got something that you're not telling me. And I don't know how bad it is. At this point, it really doesn't matter. However bad it is, things are going to instantly get better when you tell me. So, one or the other. Okay, because it's like 3 o'clock, I think.
I know.
It's 3 o'clock.
When I moved in there, he seemed fine with everything. He seemed calm. He seemed like nothing was wrong.
Are you telling me that something happened in the car on the way home from Akron?
I don't know.
Okay. I'm asking you what you're telling me because you just pitched out a totally new scenario that you haven't said up until now.
I don't know if that's what happened. And
did he get in the fight with her in the car on the way home and dump her body, then have to go get it? Is that what you're saying here?
I mean, it could be what happened.
Is that what happened? Because that is such an abstract thing to pull out. But the good thing about it is this: nobody put that in your head in this room. So if you're saying that, that is such an oddball thing to pull out of your butt to say that it's believable.
I feel like it's a possibility.
Okay. Well, why would that be a possibility?
I mean, just because they used to both get drunk all the time. Coming home from
Okay.
the bar.
Did he tell you something happened on the way home from the bar? And then he dumped the body somewhere?
He didn't say they did, but he said that they got into an argument.
On the way home from the bar?
Yeah.
And what happened?
And he just said that they got into an argument. And I asked him, what happened, and he said nothing, just everything's fine. And then, shortly after, that's when we moved in, and she was nowhere to be found. Okay. And I hadn't seen her since. I mean, I might have to get an attorney. I don't know, because I don't have enough information for you. I don't have exactly what you're looking for. I don't think. I don't really know.
I think you do. I think you do.
It's just
I think you have the ability.
He never flat out admitted anything.
I think when you start talking about rides from Akron and fights in cars and bodies dumped, I think you have the right information. I don't know why we would go that far down that road and stop, but like I said, it's really late.
I don't know.
So honestly,
I can't say that he killed her because he didn't admit to me that he killed her.
Okay. So do me a favor here. You want to talk to the lawyer?
I mean, do I need to?
I'd like to end this. So if you say lawyer, I can end this because I'm exhausted here.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know what else to do.
Okay.
I don't know what else to do.
Based on the evidence gathered so far, police book Arturo and Katrina.
Oh, let's hold up before we get into the details of the evidence. So she held her story. She danced around it, and I think if she'd got something she thought was a better deal, she'd have dimed Arturo out. I do believe, but she held her guns. My prediction held through all the way through. Who changed, Jason?
She's lying. No, it didn't change. I said if she says something, it's going to be a lie. I don't think she's going to.
Oh my goodness! You know what? You're right. You did say that. That's about as good as Burton's. Well, if she does, she does. If she doesn't, she doesn't. That's where I stand. That's literally straddle the fence. But okay, I'll give you that. Bruce, you did change yours. You thought she would break. Yes.
I didn't change mine. I thought she was going to break the whole time.
Boy, okay, very good.
But I do think B's right. I think if she was offered a better deal, I'm blaming the investigators. They just didn't offer her a good deal, or they didn't push her hard enough.
Well, when you have no, what you guys don't understand, he's got enough forensic evidence. He doesn't need. He's got enough to jail her on abuse of a corpse and then continue to investigate. Why give up the kitty a deal necessarily just to get one when you've got evidence that says it could be either one?
I care that he didn't prove me right. I'm just kidding. You make good points.
And there's something happens there that I've experienced. I'm sure Jason has too. It's 3 a.m. You've been going since 6 in the morning. The morning before, there reaches a point where I hit my fill of how much I can dance with somebody in a small room. Mentally, you get exhausted. So I kind of like that. I've never seen anybody quite in the interview like that. I'm telling you, you can do one or two things: ask for a lawyer or tell me the truth. I kind of like that. Have you ever heard that or used that, Jason?
I've never used that, but I've used. You get so frustrated to a point where you know they're lying that you just, and that's where I go back to what I said. I got enough probable cause to throw you in jail right now. I have no probable cause to charge you with a crime right now. This is your one chance. I'm done with the bullshit and just get aggressive on them. And that's where I'm saying the one thing I would have done in that moment is like, I'm fucking done with you. Here's what I know. You're going to go to prison the rest of your life. This is your one chance to say something. If you don't say it, I'm going to go to court and I'm going to say how uncooperative you were. If
So
you
you're talking FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. That's what you're leading with.
Yes.
I don't disagree. Yeah, we can have this conversation now, but you're not going to have this opportunity to have this conversation again. So now's your opportunity. But it didn't work with her. She stood in there, and it may be because she's not smart enough, or maybe she's deeper in than on that or not. But let's see what there was a continued investigation. We've got one more interview, and it's going to be Arturo himself for the third interview, I believe, on this. But let's see what they picked up on evidence prior to this next interview.
On abuse of a corpse charges. During the search of Arturo, the police located a lock key. The key fit the padlock on the freezer that housed the body. The following day, investigators received word back from the coroner's office. After the body thawed, saline was injected into the fingers to rehydrate them. Within a few hours, the coroner was able to lift a fingerprint and positively confirm that the body was Shannon Graves. However, the coroner was unable to determine the cause of death because her head was missing. The detectives shared the disturbing news with Shannon's family. Shannon's half-sister Debbie described it as a nightmare. She wondered how someone could do what they did to Shannon. With Arturo and Katrina's mugshots plastered across the local news, a witness who had interacted with the two came forward.
So, the reason you're here is you saw our people on TV.
Yep.
Okay. You saw Katrina Layton and Anthony Gonzalez.
Yes, sir.
He made some kind of internet order.
Yes.
What they shipped to Walmart to save on the shipping.
Yes, sir.
And it came in batches, not all at once.
Not at once.
But by the 11th of March.
Yes, sir.
All of the items that he ordered
were in.
And
yes.
What were those items?
They were bottles of sulfuric acid. I don't know if it was like drained sulfuric acid. My paperwork just said,
Sulfuric acid?
Yes.
All right. Bottles of them?
Yes.
Anything else?
No. You either have to give me an order number or a photo ID.
Okay. But verify that you didn't give somebody's stuff
to the wrong
somebody
person.
else.
Correct.
And then your real customer comes in and like, hey, where's my stuff?
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. So on the 11th, you're working.
Yes, sir.
And both of these people that were on TV, Katrina and Anthony, come to the place
yes, sir.
and tell you that they'd been there the night before.
Yes, sir.
That they couldn't get what they ordered, and now they want it.
Yes.
Okay. So now you're looking into the order.
Yes.
And what happens?
So then I go, obviously your name is not Chicken Man. I cannot give you this order.
Okay.
He goes, my phone must have auto-filled it in.
Gotcha.
Okay. Possible it happened. I go, but I still can't give it to you because that's not your name. I go in there, his email was chickenman at Gmail or something, So I said, okay, let me go discuss this with my manager and see what they say about what we can do.
Okay.
So I go to AP because this is I have already contacted them about the crazy boxes under Chicken Man coming in. So they knew. They wanted me to come in there when they came in. So I did. So I go in there and she looks at them on camera. She's like, okay, do they see? I'm like, they seem a little funny, but said their drain's clogged. And that Chicken Man was her email. She said, okay, so can they add an alternate pickup person? Because that's something you can do too. So if you can't make it in to pick it up, you can go back into your Walmart account and you can add somebody to pick it up for you. Okay. We'll add their name to their account.
Right.
I said, I don't know, I could see, sometimes that does take 24 hours to update.
AP wants a proper identification
Correct.
of somebody on this.
Right.
Okay.
So I said, okay, that's fine. So I went out there and I said, if you guys can add one of you guys name to the account to properly pick it up, then I can properly release it to you. Katrina's like, okay, and she added her name to it.
From her phone?
From her phone, right in front of me.
Okay.
I said, okay, well, it could take 24 to 48 hours that day. Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
But she got lucky. It went right through.
Okay.
So I said, okay. She gave me her ID. I looked at her ID. It matched. I said, all
She
right.
put her name in,
Mm-hmm.
authorizing her
To pick
it
it
up.
up. Mm-hmm.
She did.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And then she gave you her ID to prove she was who she said she was.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have proper ID.
Yes, sir.
Okay. At any point, do we ever identify Chicken Man?
No. Chick Man never gives an ID. He just stands there.
Anything else you think is pertinent about this? Or?
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
It's like eating me.
Yeah.
To know two people can stand in front of you and possibly have done something so
Well, here's what you need to know, okay?
gruesome.
At this point,
It's scary.
At this point, I believe this girl's already dead. So it's not, they didn't use this to kill her.
Right.
That's not what they did.
But to know that
Yeah.
they were still standing in front of you
is.
after they did it is
Absolutely
frightening because we were this
creepy.
close.
Yeah, I know.
And they looked at me like, how can you go about a normal day?
Andrew.
All right. Before we get into this interview, so after all this gets out, this detective is all these things we're learning as we learn, and he's learning it, putting a story together. He's lined up. He's asked for an interview. This gentleman must be out on bond, I would think. But this is the third interview of Arturo. Let's see how this is handled. The guy in the suit, well, that's his attorney. Let's see what kind of tact. Now, Jason, when you have an attorney involved, how does that change your tactics on your interview or interrogation?
It doesn't. Not at all.
What do you expect that you're going to get?
A bunch of can't ask that shit. Denials. Can't ask that.
I would say when an attorney shows up at an interview and it hasn't been some sort of a coordinated deal, like we're going to give a confession or make a deal, my attorney's here to make sure it's all squared up, so kind of like a proffer, Jason, you would do on a federal system. I'm expecting that this is a worthless interview. I'm going to ask a few questions and then I'm going to hang this up. We're not getting anywhere. I don't expect that my opponent necessarily is going to incriminate themselves with their attorney standing next to them. So that's what I would do. I would end this pretty quick, I think.
Yes, sir. This is our third interview. We were asked to find you, get a third interview because of some new information in the case. When I came to find you, you and your wife asked if you need a lawyer. Said that it's up to you. You have a lawyer. Even though you're sitting here with your lawyer, I still have to read you your rights. We're getting a little more accusatory in our conversation here, and that's the reason. Okay. During Katrina's dealing so far, she has since decided to cooperate against Arturo. Has got herself an OR bond. She's out of jail now. And on top of testifying against her, she intends to testify against you. Specifically that you aided in the dismemberment of Shannon Graves after she was dead. At no point did she say that you killed her or anything prior to her being dead. But her story was that Arturo came home one night. She's dead in the car. She couldn't help him move the body because she's too small, so he called you. You came over, and until you took this body apart in the garage of her house. So that's why we're here. The prosecutors asked us to come find you, tell you this, confront you with this new evidence, and see what you had to say about it.
It's untrue.
So at no point did you help Arturo chop up a body.
No.
Katrina was specific about this, you being the one that helped them. I've always felt from our conversation here that you know a little bit more about what's going on. I've always felt that. I'll be honest with you about it. We've spent a lot of time in this room. And that much time, I mean, would I?
All right, hold up, folks. I've made a mistake. This is not Arturo's third interview. This is the first guy in the green shirt that said he helped burn items. Wow. I'm just now realizing. My apologies. When I cut this, I thought that we were talking about Arturo's third interview.
He looks a lot less greasy this time.
Yeah, he does.
He's got
I
representation.
didn't recognize him.
He looks like he's works on the Office TV show with short sleeves and a tie. Isn't that strange? All right, we got B. B called it. I'll give you that. Burton. I think Burton called it too. He was a little iffy on this cat, and of course James he picked up on it like I did. It's like, wait a minute, that's not Arturo. Okay, so they're charging him with helping Arturo cut the body up, according to Katrina, who's, by the way, has turned states and got herself a personal recognizance bond and is breathing free air. Interesting. Watch this attorney. It's weird how he has his legs crossed, hands high on his chest on the armrest there. But watch his face. He's just kind of got a face the whole time.
I think it doesn't really matter a whole lot. But I spent a lot of time with you in here, and I think maybe you know a little bit more. And I would much rather use that against the main characters in this. No part of me feels like you killed this woman. I don't see why you would.
We don't see any motive to.
I have no reason to believe that.
There is none.
You're obviously closer to this than we are. You're in a position to know more than we know. If that's the case, I would much rather hear it from you and use it against them than hear it from them and try to use it against you. The way things are right now, without that corroborating evidence, I don't know how I use it against you. So basically, we're just giving bonus points to killers. And I don't know. What I do, that doesn't sit well. But that's why we're here.
There's nothing I can provide.
Okay.
I've told you everything. I came down to the station before you two even came to my door.
I'm aware of that.
Right.
I'm aware of that. You came down here twice with us voluntarily. You came down a third time voluntarily. Now you're with counsel. That's 3 times.
I was as cooperative as I can.
Okay. Anything else?
The attorney interview is over. See him? He looked at his watch.
With Andrew denying Katrina's version of events, the detectives searched for additional evidence to corroborate Katrina's story. As detectives searched for more evidence, they listened to Arturo's jailhouse phone calls. They heard a familiar voice on the other end of the line. It was Katrina. Her communications with Arturo violated her plea agreement. When notified of the communications, prosecutors revoked her plea deal. With Katrina's plea deal up in smoke, Andrew seized the opportunity to strike a deal with prosecutors. The agreement requires his truthful account of what happened and his testimony against Arturo and Katrina. The following is Andrew's version of events on the day Shannon was killed. Andrew receives a call from Arturo telling him to meet at Katrina's house. Once inside Katrina's house, Arturo shows Shannon's body to Andrew. Arturo tells Andrew that she was killed in her apartment and brought to Katrina's house. Arturo said that Shannon was bludgeoned to death by hammer strikes to the head. At the direction of Arturo, they dismembered Shannon's body using a machete. They placed Shannon's body in a 55-gallon drum. Katrina then recommended the idea of using sulfuric acid to help dispose of the body. They purchased the sulfuric acid, and they removed Shannon's head and torso from one drum, put it in another drum, and poured the sulfuric acid on Shannon's head and torso. According to a detective, the sulfuric acid they had purchased wasn't sufficient to dissolve the body, as they had purchased off-brand sulfuric acid that was not 100% pure. With the sulfuric acid not working, Katrina bought a freezer for the remaining body parts. Andrew did express remorse for his role in the crime. Andrew said he agreed to participate because he feared he would be next if he didn't. In September 2018, prosecutors indicted Arturo Novoa and Katrina Layton for the murder of Shannon Graves. With the death penalty on the table, the two quickly made a deal. Arturo pled guilty to 47 of the 48 counts, including murder. Arturo Novoa received a sentence of 43 years in prison. Katrina pled guilty to tampering with evidence, obstruction of justice, and abuse of a corpse. Katrina Layton received a sentence of 18 years. For his cooperation, Andrew Herman pled guilty to tampering with evidence, abuse of a corpse, and engaging in a pattern of corrupt activity. Andrew received a sentence of 12 years. Shannon's circle of so-called friends stole her life. Shannon's family continues to mourn her loss and wonder what could have been. Shannon's dog Molly now lives with Debbie. Even with Arturo's murder conviction, it is believed by some, including a few investigators, that it was Katrina who killed Shannon.
Well, that's our video. I'm actually a little shocked about the first guy. I didn't see that he had. I didn't see that. Although I will say that committing for self-preservation, but to me, in my mind, it added up as logical that if you burn somebody who's missing his property because you were helping somebody out, that you could be concerned about. If you don't come forward, you could be looked at as an accessory to something.
Can I ask something?
Sure.
And I don't know if it's like just what I see in movies all the time or the books I've read. I read a lot of police procedurals, like English ones and all. But there's always someone who was guilty of a crime and they're trying to find out like what the police know. So they're staying pretty close to the police. And I kind of wondered with him coming in if he was trying to feel them out too. Do you guys get that? Is that like a real thing or is it just a fictional thing?
I
Do you
think
get what I'm saying?
I think it does absolutely happen, but I think that law enforcement are pretty sensitive to it. That what you think you're doing, you may be drawing attention to yourself that you don't want.
Yeah. Well, he was more sensitive to anger than we were. So.
Good luck. And Jason, correct me if you don't see it this way, but I see it another way. He could be looking at it like, hey, if this story starts coming unwound, I'm in it. My name's going to come up. But if I come up now and said, hey, he just asked me to burn some shit and I did that, all that. No, I didn't do any of that. And I came to you first, that he would have the police fooled. And maybe they wouldn't look at him or look down the road of what he could be culpable of. I think he did it for self-preservation, that I better strike first because if it comes up, I'll have no way to defend it.
I can see that.
Everybody who the police talk to, it's our nature to preserve yourself first. So that's why I keep going back to what's your story, let them talk. And you're going to hear that self-preservation. And we heard it all through this thing. The one thing that I still don't know is what was the motive to kill this girl. And if you get in a ring of meth users and drug users, you're walking into a ring of some fucked up shit and shit you've never seen before. I think that's what we watched here is just a complete drug-induced cycle of crap. I don't know the motive still why they wanted her dead, but I put this all on a bunch of dope heads that something got out of control. Everybody's screwing everybody, and that's my take.
Yeah. And I think, folks, when we go through these, even more so than our police video review, you'll see that what you see on investigations in the movie, it's contrived. There's a lot of drama in it. But I think when you see these things live, and I don't know if you feel the same way, Jason, but I look at them as like there's no background music. It's not it's almost it's pretty raw. I mean, when you see these types of things, interrogations are just when you're doing investigations in general, it's just not what you see on television where it's like a chess game. You really know what's going on. Many investigators are surprised at the end when they find out, when they have the evidence that shows what happened, they're surprised as well. Just like I was tonight with the first guy. I didn't have him on the suspect list, but sure enough, it looks like he was turned states. But Jason, isn't the feel in a real investigation, I guess it's more cold. Maybe that's a better description when you're doing these and the way people react when they tell you things of horribly that they've done.
Honestly, it's a process. And when you start an investigation, you're based with basically a crime scene and initial facts and initial statements. And then your job is to actually prove the statements they had and then call them back in like, well, we proved this wrong. it truly is a process, and it's a lot of work. I mean, we've done cases in my career that have been months long, where you're trying to prove what somebody said to discredit them in an interview, the next week, and it's a true process.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot goes into it. The interrogation is a powerful tool. But folks, that's going to be our show tonight. Let me ask my night court co-host. Either one of you interested in hosting an after party? I'll come, but I don't want to host one tonight.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, our friend Bruce Wayne. Check out the night court community. If you're not a member, you should be. It's on my timeline on X, pinned to the top. Join our community, and Bruce Wayne will open up a space in there for the after party, about 20, 25 minutes. Give us stretch our legs and some fresh drinks. But I want to thank Bruce Wayne and Fidgy for standing in. You can't trust them veteran intel guys. That's why they call them spooks. They'll disappear on you. But and Jason, as always, my friend, I appreciate you participating, and your insights invaluable on these things. But a great show. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in after party about 25 minutes on X.
Great show, Jeff. Thanks.